See, look at that. 9 seconds early. I've never been able to get the timing right because you hit the little, start the live stream button. And sometimes it takes, only like 8 seconds. And other times it takes 38 seconds. And well, regardless, it's now 6 o'clock in the morning. Welcome to Thursday, December 18th, the penultimate show, live from Lake Wissota. Nice to have you here. Coming up in just a bit, we will be checking in on Grumpy and his speech from the White House yesterday and ask why he's screaming at everybody. And let's fact check that, shall we? I mean, it's only a 3-hour show. It's going to take a while, but we'll fact check as best as we can. Sean O'Malley will be in during the show here to talk about your money and the markets, and things are not looking great right now. We're in a slump here, kids. And Sean O'Malley's going to explain just where we're at and where the economy is likely to go from here. We'll also talk about a new report on property taxes. Everybody knows they're much higher in Wisconsin. Why? How about if we connect the dots? It's not actually that hard. And we'll talk about a discharge petition in the House that might finally lead to a vote on Affordable Care Act, health insurance credits. Joe Sapecki will be along, Chad Holmes, and much more, all on this Thursday morning starting at 6:06 across the Civic Media Radio Network and right here after the news.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Wisconsin Eye stopped broadcasting a few days ago. Now, 2 Democrats have introduced a bill to create an alternative, a new government-sponsored network. WISI live streams the legislature, the Supreme Court, the executive branch. The goal is to make state government accessible to everyone. Without it, the only way to watch these things is to be at the Capitol in person. But they're facing a budget gap of nearly $900,000 for 2026. And after a year and a half of working to fundraise, the network paused all operations December 15th. State Senator Mark Spreitzer and State Representative Breanne Brown, both Democrats, are introducing a bill that would create a new public affairs network instead of Wisconsin Eye. That means live streaming would be part of state government, not a nonprofit that relies on donations and sponsors. Spreitzer talking with Civic Media News Director Shali Pittman.
It looks like we are going to be in a position of needing public taxpayer funding for the long term. And if that's the case, then we should consider whether it should just be a public entity that is accountable to elected officials and run for the public benefit.
It would cost about $2 million a year to add this coverage to state government. Spreitzer says if Wisconsin Eye dissolves, according to their contract, they have to turn over their 18 years' worth of archives to the Wisconsin Historical Society. But in order to make this happen, Democrats need Republicans in charge of the legislature on board.
I certainly hope to get support from Republicans. I don't believe we have any Republicans signed on yet, but this is something that I know we've heard that Republican leaders are interested in doing something.
Spreitzer hopes they can get the bill on the floor in January. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
The Bucks host the Raptors. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports NBA. It's the Bucks and the Raptors tonight at Fiserv Forum. Doc Rivers asked about Giannis Antetokounmpo recovering from a calf injury, and shooting guard A.J. Green, who's been out with a bruised shoulder.
Still kind of day-to-day then with him?
Yeah. Practice probably the first 15 minutes, then we took him off the floor, so we'll see how it goes.
What about Giannis?
No update. I know he's doing some shooting and stuff, but I don't see him anytime soon.
College hoops, Marquette losing at home to Georgetown, 78-69. NFL odds makers now have the Packers as just 1-point favorites against the Bears Saturday night in Chicago after the Packers placed Micah Parsons on IR with that torn ACL. NBC's Chris Sims.
Does it affect their chances to win the Super Bowl or even go to the Super Bowl? I think it does in a lot of ways. They can win a few games in the playoffs. Can they get to the Super Bowl? I don't know. And again, that's where I think we'll have to look at what their defense looks like here down the stretch.
That's former NFL quarterback Chris Sims. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Your neighbors are talking. Leaders are deciding. Madison's story unfolds daily on 92.7 WMDX.
Cloudy today with rain showers this morning. A little snow possible by late this afternoon. It's going to be windy, too, with a south wind becoming west, gusting to 30 to 40 today, and falling temperatures from near 40 this morning into the low 20s by late this afternoon. Temperatures drop tonight, still windy, with a low of 6 above. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
Pete Schwaba.
A mom popped into elementary school to deliver some paperwork, leaving her 10-year-old son in the car outside. They found the car in the garage and the child in the house with the dad. He had had an argument with his mom and decided to drive himself home. Officers declined to charge the boy because he's too young to be held criminally responsible. Put that kid in juvie, baby.
Don't worry, officer. We're going to ground him.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 5 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Where working people come to talk. It's The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network. Join me for an honest approach to the issues American working families care about. No talking points, no focus groups. Get ready for a heavy dose of democracy, fairness, grit, and no apologies. It's current affairs from a working class labor perspective. Facts are center, science is real, and everyone gets a seat at the table. The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Pete Schwaba.
On the next Nightlight, director of North Country.
15 seconds until we go back.
Across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
Well, hey there, Wisconsin. Good morning. It is 6:06, a Thursday morning, December 18th, 2025. 1 week to go until Christmas. It's another beautiful morning to have you here up north, live from Lake Wissota, from wherever you're spending your mornings listening across the Civic Media Radio Network on our penultimate show. It's one of my favorite words. Why do we need such a big fancy word to say second to the last? It's our penultimate show. And here we are before we wrap things up tomorrow, and hope that you will join us for one more live edition from up here on Lake Wissota. By the way, another reminder, there will still be 2 more weeks worth of shows after this. They will be mostly best ofs, but to entice you, we've sprinkled in some fresh stuff as well along the way. Parker and I have been working on that as he produces things down in Madison Studio 2A. But first, I got a question for you. Why is President Grumpy screaming so loudly at the TV cameras? It's supposed to be a televised speech, one of those speeches you can just deliver in a conversational tone of voice. And instead, he's screaming that you're not really feeling what it is that you're feeling. And by the way, it's Joe Biden's fault. Did I mention it's Joe Biden's fault? Joe Biden this, Joe Biden that. Why is Joe Biden still living rent-free in Joe Biden and Donald Trump's head? This song seems to say it all. Kylie Minogue is going to sue me for using the song in this context, but honestly, let it go. And maybe personally, it's because he knows he can't say Barack Hussein Obama too many more times, although, the jig is up. Everybody knows you're a crazy racist. But Joe Biden will be the proper substitute for saying, those people, those Democrats and everybody else. The numbers don't lie as far as where we are in this country right now, and we'll talk more about that coming up this morning, as well as something that was once upon a time rare in Congress, something called a discharge petition to force a vote on things. And some moderate Republicans are now forcing Speaker Mike Johnson to hold a vote on resurrecting those tax credits that help make health insurance more affordable to more Americans. We'll talk about that today as well. Along the way, you can join us at 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. You can also use the Civic Media app to call us or text us or leave us a voice note. We will be talking to Joe Zepecki here this morning. Of course, we'll talk about that self-fulfilling prophecy among Republicans that government doesn't work. Especially when we're in charge, Republicans say, because we're going to break everything and then tell you that government doesn't work. So we'll go over some of that. Sean O'Malley will be here to talk about your money and the markets and the economy and the numbers are not good. not good right now. And we'll do a little bit more fact checking of the president's quote unquote economic address. We'll help connect the dots on your high property tax bills because they are out and they are higher in many cases. And there is a new report out by a nonpartisan research group. The report needed more than 2,000 words to describe why this month's property tax bills are higher than the ones you got a year ago. They really only needed a handful of words to connect the dots. A Republican legislature passed the buck. Rather than contribute a fair share to local governments and the education of our children, GOP lawmakers once again are forcing municipalities and educators to look like the bad guys just to maintain a current level of services. We'll talk to Joe Zepecki about that coming up in a bit. Chad Holmes will be here from our civic media station in Wausau as well. Let's see, the Up North News Daily newsletter is out. Ellie Bordeaux, who was marking her birthday here yesterday with us, has put it together, and there's an article here about the Packers Fan of the Year who uses Packers games to teach her class of first grade students. Also, a story on how chatbots, AI chatbots, are spreading misinformation about abortion to Wisconsin residents, and some lawmakers want to fight back. So all that and more in our newsletter. Sign up for it at upnorthnewswi.com. All right, let's scoot down to Madison now, Studio A2, where Parker Olson is now standing by. I'm forgetting how these buttons work over here. I like that I'm already starting to forget the buttons that I won't be needing anymore after this week. Now I'm just pressing things willy-nilly at this point.
I got worried for a second there. You made me the full screen. I was like, oh, God.
I know.
Tell me
here,
something? Do we need
you
a
know what?
close-up for my reaction?
You take it from here. I got this. I don't like long goodbyes, so that's it. We're done. No, it's not anything
You're getting
like
a
that.
long goodbye.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it's not the year-long, Jane Matinaire one, but it's close enough. So, Alicia says, happy belated birthday to Ellie. Yes, absolutely. And Alicia also says on YouTube, oh boy, the property tax issue. There's a few legislators trying to build a case for their 2026 runs, blaming Democrats for the consequences of their votes on the new state budget. That's just not going to fly either. So, I mean, there's so many end of the year things that we're covering over the next couple of weeks. In fact, Parker can attest, I sprung a news quiz on him. An end of the year
horribly.
News quiz. Well, I mean, again, it was a pop quiz. These things
True.
come up
I
for
didn't
a
get
reason.
to study.
Yep.
Kind of messed up at you.
No, that's, yeah. Again, let me give you one example. Spoiler alert for our shows next week. Katy Perry went to outer space. If you had told me that was a year ago or 2 years ago, I would have said, oh, yeah, I remember that. No, it was this year.
I
did
not remember that being this year.
We brought up a few different things. We're like, was that really this year? Oh, yeah. Yes, it was. So it's been, what a decade it was this year, huh? It's just been
what a decade this month.
Oh, there has been a lot. But eventually we are ticking the days down till the holiday break. Christmas is just 1 week away. I think I have everything. I think I have everything. I know. This is the point now where I go, oh no, I forgot this or that. But at the moment, I think I'm okay.
I am in the stage of I have ordered things. I ordered things like first week of December, and they're not here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm starting to sweat a little here, Pat.
Well, I did reach that point with a gift that I have to get somebody, and I had just the right thing in mind, and I went online to a couple of different sites. And one thing that's really frustrating is when you're browsing, there's Amazon, there's Etsy, there's, some of these other sites, and you see the item at first, and it says, will arrive Saturday or something like that. Then you go click on it. When you go click on it to actually put it in your cart, then it says, will arrive Sunday or Monday or something like that. I'm like, what? I need this. I need this now because I'm going on the road. I need to have this gift with me.
It's my money and I want it now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. Jim in Campbellsport. Pat, forgive me. I didn't listen to his rant. What I did hear reminded me of his COVID rants in 2020. Make him walk out and cry. Jim in Campbellsport, listening on WAUK. Jim, thank you very much for that. No, you caught more of the speech than I did. because I caught absolutely zero. I was out having a Christmas dinner with some friends, and came back home, and I'm looking up social media. Saw this. Why is he screaming? Why is he shouting?
Yeah.
And you made it, what, 15 minutes? You said it was an 18-minute speech, so you almost got through it all.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
darn.
Might be one of his shortest ones ever.
I genuinely got through 15 minutes and then thought I cannot take another half hour of this.
Yeah.
So I left.
Which would have been par for the course. And in fact,
Yeah.
a couple of the president's allies said it was a great speech because it was only 18 minutes. That's not what constitutes a great speech. It's what's in the actual speech that does it. So you're better man than I for tuning in, or I'm a smarter man than you
I was gonna say,
for
I
not
think you're
tuning
smarter
in.
than I.
either way. All right. Well, I could be at this for a while, but let's go ahead and look at some of the fact checking on this. And the only reason I bring it up is because I watched a national report on one of the TV channels this morning. And it was just infuriating, the lack of fact checking. It's like Trump says this and Trump says that and Trump says that. And like, that's not reporting. That's stenography, you know? And yes, it would take a while to point out everything that he got wrong, but you could start with the basics, as noted by fact checker Daniel Dale at CNN, that inflation isn't down. You know, inflation is roughly the same as what it was when he took office. And it wasn't the worst inflation ever, not even close. And he knows that. And he's still telling the lie about, you know, gas being $1.99 a gallon when the national average is $2.91. He again used the misleading claim about Thanksgiving dinner prices, comparing apples to oranges in terms of the size of the items and the number of items that are in there. Trump said there has been $18 trillion in investment in the U.S. so far. That number was pulled out of a butt someplace, because even the White House's own website says it's been about $9 trillion in investment. So he doubled that. But even the $9 trillion includes commitments that were made during the Biden administration that are just coming to fruition now. He again repeated his false claim that he had ended 8 wars this year. Some of those places he said are no longer at war are, in fact, still at war. He, again, wildly inflated the figures on undocumented immigrants. He, again, repeated his false claim that there will be no tax on Social Security through his big bloated boondoggle of a budget bill. He, again, claimed that crime was at record levels under Joe Biden. It was not. On and on it goes. And again, all I ask is that the national media covering this just don't do stenography. That's it. And you know what? Correcting the record does not make you partisan. He might hate it, but it doesn't make it partisan. In Congress, a discharge petition is an extremely rare tool. A majority of members of any party can sign it and force a full vote on a matter, even if the leadership wants to keep it bottled up. But now, for the 4th time, House Speaker Mike Johnson has had his hand forced by members of his own party, joining along with Democrats, this time to allow an up or down vote on resurrecting the tax credits that helped keep health insurance affordable for 20 million Americans. It's only the latest sign of economic dysfunction from Republican lawmakers and a president. And if you head over to our website, upnorthnewswi.com, you'll see my new article there posted yesterday with all of the latest numbers on the Wisconsin economy. For example, the average family is paying $671 more in 2025 for the same goods and services as 2024. Despite Trump promising inflation would be in full retreat by last August. The median income Wisconsin family will lose a combined $1,060 a year from Trump's trade war tariffs and the effects of the mega bill. You've got, of course, the big health insurance price hikes that are going up. You've got many of the people on SNAP benefits losing those benefits, all while that man is having some fun turning the White House into rubble and holding Great Gatsby parties and building a gilded ballroom. We need a break. Let's talk about what is happening for fun in Wisconsin this coming weekend. Sharita Booker tells us more in a bit. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Conversations.
Green and Gold football is back at the Lazy Oaf Lounge. Catch the games on 14 large screen TVs. Join Meat and Jersey raffles at halftime during regular season games and enjoy half-price wings and beer bucket specials. And the Lazy Oaf is a great place for lunch with daily specials, soups made from scratch, and fast, friendly service. The Lazy Oaf Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road. Find specials, menus, and more at lazyoaflounge.com.
What is a commercial? It's a message delivered to the people, in this instance through your radio speakers, into your ears. Why, it's like a movie for your brain. This radio commercial is directed to the business community. If you want to reach more customers, you should be using WMDX Radio. It's that simple. Just email sales@WMDXradio.com and let our crack sales team show you how to make your business grow with the #1 medium known to humankind, the radio commercial on WMDX. Long may you wave.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you.
30 seconds left in a break.
Thank you, Sunshine. All right, here we go. Last dance, last chance to hear from Sharita Booker, our social media manager, talking about some events that you can take place around Wisconsin, events you could go to around Wisconsin this weekend. Sharita, hello.
Hey, Pat, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. We're in the home stretch here, and can't wait to see what all we got planned for 2026. But I really appreciate you joining us on these Thursday mornings to talk about some weekend events. People really like hearing about these.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. And I guess we'll have to find another way to figure out how to update people on the weekend events.
I think that'll be one of our little video assignments. We'll just put that up on, every week over on the Up North News Facebook page or something. So I don't know. Stay tuned for coming attractions. But for one more time on the radio, let's pick out 3 events that people can go to. And I got a bone to pick with this first one here. It's called Cave and Cocktails. The bone I have to pick has nothing to do with the cave or the cocktails, but tell folks about the event.
So if you're looking for something different to do this weekend, this Friday, you can check out Cave and Cocktails, which is a new concert series at Cave of the Mounds in Blue Mounds. It's a happy hour underground with 5 local music from Corey Hart, and the night includes a guided cave tour, a drink, and light appetizers. Tickets are $40, and you can grab those at caveofthemounds.com.
But no, not that Corey Hart. Because right away, I jumped into this. I'm like, wait a minute. Corey Hart is doing Cave and Cocktails at Cave of the Mounds? And it says on the site there, Corey Hart, you're thinking the guy that does Sunglasses at Night.
Oh, okay. See, I thought Corey Hart was Like, I remember a Corey Hart from the Brewers, right?
There's
Or-
also a Corey Hart from
Okay.
the Brewers. It is neither one of them. It is a guy, I went to his website. His name is Corey, Corey, and he goes by Corey Matthew Hart. Now, Corey Matthew Hart has some very interesting music here. It's very sweet. But it's not that Corey Hart, even though that's what it says on the event webpage. So just be aware. This sounds like a great event. Like you said, cocktails in a cave, great environment and everything else. But when you see that Corey Hart is playing on Friday, not that Corey Hart, just a word to the wise. People showing up there with like their autographed books thinking they're going to see a former Milwaukee Brewer there, or the guy that had that song 30 years ago.
Right.
No.
Everyone's confused.
Corey Matthew Hart, who's now on notice, he should probably pick a show business name, a new stage name or something like that. Anyway, so having set the record straight on that, let's go to our next event coming up on the weekend. This one's on Sunday in Milwaukee.
Yep. So if you still need to get some holiday shopping in, Milwaukee Makers Market is hosting its official holiday market this Sunday at Discovery World. It runs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and admission to the market is free. You'll find more than 50 local artists, makers, and bakers selling everything from jewelry and ceramics to candles, leather goods, and clothing, all made right here in Milwaukee. The market is set up inside Discovery World's pavilion, so it's all indoors. Just know that general admission still applies if you want to explore the full museum or aquarium. And the market is one of the longest running small markets in the city, and it's a good chance to support local businesses while finishing up your holiday shopping. For more information on that, visit MilwaukeeMakersMarket.com.
And again, don't let this one fool you, because when I saw Milwaukee Makers Market, the bourbon lover in me was like, wait, does this have something to do with Maker's Mark, the bourbon? No. It's Milwaukee Makers Market.com. Go there. Again, great event. Just want to make sure everybody's all set to go on this one. Our final event celebrates the winter solstice, which takes place on Sunday morning at about 9 a.m. Sunday morning Central Time. This is an event, though, that takes place a little bit later on in the day.
Yep, and this event is held by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, and it'll be held at Whitefish Dune State Park in Door County. And the winter solstice marks the shortest day and longest night of the year, and it also signals the gradual return of longer days. The event runs from 4 to 6 p.m. and includes a sunset hike along the beach. And after the hike, there will be a fire, hot cider, and just time to reflect on the past year and the one ahead at the picnic shelter. Costumes and light-up attire are welcome, and pets are allowed. I don't know the relevance of the costumes. I should do some research on that.
It's probably some kind of pagan tradition or something to create the solstice. I don't know. Maybe if everybody just brings sunglasses, they can dress up like Corey Hart. I don't know. I'm mixing up the events here. But people can find out more through the DNR, I would imagine.
Yes, and if you go there, don't forget a state park vehicle sticker is still required.
Yes. Okay. So there you go. We're going to mark that. And then that always makes me happy because the days do get longer after that, bit by bit. So we are almost to that point, the shortest day of the year. Things get a little better. Things get a little brighter moving forward. Well, Sharita, we're done here on the radio. Obviously, we're working together every day at Up North News moving forward, but just here for the purposes of this lovely program. Thank you for being so wonderful. Have a great Christmas, and I'll talk to you a little bit later on.
You too, Pat. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Sharita. Appreciate it so much. Let's see. It is 6:28 right now, so we've got time for just one quick other note that's in the news about Wisconsin Eye going dark. Recall we had John Henkes on from Wisconsin Eye earlier in the week, and there is now a new bill put forward by a couple of Democrats that would create an Office of the Public Affairs Network within the Wisconsin Department of Administration, tasked with providing unedited live video and audio coverage of government proceedings. It got me wondering. I took a look through, and there are several examples of state-based channels that cover state government: Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, among them, all with different types of business models. And the point that I had made before is that it seems like Wisconsin Eye has more than established itself for being independent and beyond political meddling, and has earned the support of state resources rather than coverage of state government relying on the whims of charities. All right, looking ahead to today's history lesson that's coming up. What do we got in there? Oh, that's right. I've got the Grinch and DMX and more. And I swear it's not DMX singing the Grinch, but you never know. You got to stick around for the history lesson. That's coming up after the Midwest Farm Report. I'm Pat Kreitlow. You're up north.
From the Capitol to your kitchen table, Madison's biggest stories live right here on 92.7 WMDX.
According to Dr. Arden Anderson, farmers are some of the most susceptible people to developing illnesses. He's a physician and agricultural consultant out of Kansas City. He says that farmers face elevated rates of cancer, heart disease, Parkinson's, and many other health issues. He tells us some of the common reasons this is happening.
Well, certainly chemicals are a major issue with that. But interesting as well, if we look back 50 years, nearly 100% of farmers had a garden. And so they ate a lot of fruits and vegetables. Today, it's a rare farmer that has a garden. In fact, you go to Iowa, it's near 0%. There are a few scattered here and there, but rarely do you find a farmer anymore that has a garden, which means they're not eating fresh fruits and vegetables. They're going to town, they're having the McDonald's or some other fast food junk.
Dr. Arden Anderson along with us. He's a physician and agricultural consultant out of Kansas City. Hey, don't touch that radio dial. I'll have more news right after this.
Winter is a good time to evaluate your livestock's health. BioVet loves seeing healthy animals contribute to your farm's profitability. Freeing up your time for the holidays is at the top of our list. When you choose BioVet microbial and nutritional products to keep your livestock out of the sick pen and healthy, you'll enjoy more time with your family this holiday season. Many thanks and warm wishes from our BioVet family to yours. Help your livestock stay healthy and call 1-800-BioVet1 or visit bio-vet.com.
Did you know you can leverage crop insurance to benefit your bottom line? Ag Country Farm Credit Services can help. Choosing the right coverage for your goals can help maximize margins, strengthen your marketing strategy, and build a more resilient operation overall. As you plan for the season ahead, focus on more than just managing risk. Call 800-450-9858 to speak with one of our dedicated crop insurance officers. This institution is an equal opportunity provider and employer.
I'm Kylie Allen for the Midwest Farm Report. Let's take a look at some agriculture news. Today in Washington, D.C., wolves are on the agenda. The full House of Representatives is expected to vote on the Pet and Livestock Protection Act. This legislation would strip the gray wolf of its federal protections by reissuing the 2020 final rule. If passed, the decision would not be subject to judicial review. Randy Johnson is the large carnivore specialist for the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. He estimates that there are between 1,000 and 1,200 wolves currently residing in the state of Wisconsin. The Wisconsin DNR is invested in monitoring the population of gray wolves in Wisconsin. They do so with the support of state and federal employees, as well as volunteers. To find the latest Wisconsin Ag News, be sure to visit our website at MidwestFarmReport.com. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Kylie Allen.
Local news, real voices, and conversations that count. That's Madison. And that's 92.7 WMDX.
Cloudy today with rain showers this morning. A little snow possible by late this afternoon. It's going to be windy too, with a south wind becoming west, gusting to 30 to 40 today, and falling temperatures from near 40 this morning into the low 20s by late this afternoon. Temperatures drop tonight, still windy with a low of 6 above. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
Afternoons with John and Gordy.
There are so many movies and series about people who are discovering that they were a spy. Maybe that has happened to me.
Oh, really?
And maybe even you, Gordy, because we were both members of the Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's right.
Kids from U.N.C.L.E.
You open up the briefcase, you got a gun in there with a silencer.
That you can assemble, and so we could be sleeper agents. We don't know it. Yeah.
It's John and Gordy in the afternoons from 2 to 5 on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hey there, Wisconsin. Tom Hartman here. Democracy is not a spectator sport, so join me each and every weekday right here on Civic Media for the Tom Hartman program from 11 a.m.
Tom, shut up. I got to hear from the kids.
Covering
Pat, don't forget 30 seconds.
It's time once again for today's history lesson on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
It's one small step for man.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
You know, this depression is going to be so great. We'll be the ones eating the cats and the dogs. That's going to be fun.
Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel.
So welcome to today's history lesson, which starts with a car conversation with me and Sherry yesterday. I mentioned we were going out to dinner last night, and on the way out to dinner, we heard somebody doing All I Want for Christmas Is You, but it was not Mariah Carey. And then on the way back from dinner, we heard somebody else doing All I Want for Christmas Is You, not Mariah Carey. And we both agreed, like, there's just some songs where it's like, nope, cut it off. Nobody else gets to do it. That's Mariah Carey's song.
You want no covers.
No, you're not going to. Same goes here for Thurl Ravenscroft's You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
39.5-foot pole.
How are you going to top that? You're not. Boris Karloff supplied the voice of the Grinch. It premiered on CBS on this day in 1966. So How the Grinch Stole Christmas from Dr. Seuss 59 years ago debuted on TV. And it's the perfect song for this.
It is a really wonderful song.
I'd take the seasick crocodile.
Let's see. I think we came up with one or two other ones, and it's just, again, just let them have it. Come up with other Christmas songs. That's okay, This next history lesson item, I did not think I'd still be saying in the year of our Lord 2025. Keith Richards is still with us, and today had another birthday. Keith Richards is 82 years old today. Now, to be clear, he's starting to feel 82 because this week, the Rolling Stones announced that they have canceled plans for a 2026 stadium tour of the UK and Europe. A source close to the band confirmed this to Variety, following reports that Keith Richards was unable to, quote, commit to it. Do you know why Keith Richards couldn't commit to it? Because he's 82 years old today. He's 82 today.
No, Pat. It's because he's busy. He's got a lot going on. He had to do another concert.
Those drugs aren't going to take themselves. No. And he's still here. There you go. Here's another nice seasonal one. On this day in 1892 was the premiere of Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker. The premiere took place in St. Petersburg, Russia, a classical two-part ballet set on Christmas Eve at the foot of a Christmas tree in a child's imagination, featuring a life-size Nutcracker doll, which might explain why I've never really seen this thing from top to bottom, because that would just wig me out.
I think I've only heard this. I think that's all of the Nutcracker I remember.
No, you've heard Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. There's like 3 songs that we've all heard,
yes. Okay.
Yeah. But then all the stuff in between, you'd have to actually attend it. And so it's on my to-do list. Maybe in retirement. We'll see.
Yeah.
On this day in 2019, 6 years ago today, the United States House of Representatives impeached Donald Trump for the first time, I hasten to add, for using military aid to blackmail Ukraine's leader to get him to make stuff up about Joe Biden. And Republicans let him skate on that. On this day in 1961, the number one song was by a group called The Tokens. All right, you may all weema-wep now at your leisure. The Lion Sleeps Tonight was the number one song this day, 64 years ago, by The Tokens. Actor Brad Pitt is 62 years old today. This is also the anniversary of the birth of DMX, born Earl Simmons, this day in 1970.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me go all out. Up in
I suppose this is the part we usually turn it down in case we accidentally didn't grab the clean version of something. But DMX passed away 4 years ago at the age of 50. Was born this day 55 years ago. I mentioned going into the break, DMX maybe doing the Grinch or something like that. Wouldn't that make an interesting crossover? And Alicia put in the comment section on YouTube, that DMX and the Grinch thing reminded me, I searched for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra's version of Carol of the Bells, my favorite Christmas song, and I ended up with a playlist of all the different versions of Carol of the Bells and loved it. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. If you happen to like a song and there isn't the one signature version, as we mentioned earlier, and want to hear different versions, YouTube will let you do that. Yeah. And with AI now, we probably could get DMX singing the Grinch song.
We could, but do we want that?
DMX got a very unique voice. That might actually be pretty interesting. She also puts up, do you remember the other day I mentioned my dad changed the words to Blue Christmas? Yes. He also changed the words to The Lion Sleeps Tonight to, because this is Alicia writing in, Alicia Witz. So her dad would sing, Alicia Witz, Alicia Witz, Alicia Witz. This sounds like a great dad. I'm digging this. Did you grab this one particular quote from Ron White, whose birthday is today?
I did.
One of my very favorite comedians, Ron White, makes a lot of songs about drinking, so be warned about that. And so many lines I'm gonna try to repeat, but I'm gonna say at least one. Let him say at least one of them after getting into a bar fight and them calling the cops.
Cop showed up, and at that point, I had the right to remain silent, but I didn't have the ability.
I love that. He's some of my favorite lines. I've drank so much in my life. Now on the back of my driver's license, there's a list of organs that I need. My uncle goes, son, you're never going to find the answers to your problems in the bottom of that bottle. And I said, I know. That's why I'm going to buy another one. He said, anything has the potential to become a DUI checkpoint if you crash your car into it. And if you've never heard his small plane flight story, he says, somebody said to the pilot, hey man, if one of these engines falls off, how far will the other engine take us? And the pilot responds, all the way to the scene of the crash. Ron White has a birthday today. He is 69 years old. Christina Aguilera has a birthday today. She turns 45. Former Mouseketeer, along with so many other former modern-day Mouseketeers who then made it big on their own. What a Girl Wants, Beautiful, Genie in a Bottle, Fighter. At the age of 19, she won the Grammy for Best New Artist and has sold more than 100 million records worldwide. On this day in 2018, a meteor exploded over the Bering Sea, way up north, with a force 10 times greater than the atomic bomb that destroyed Hiroshima in 1945. That was a big old blast, and we were lucky it happened where it did.
I was going to say, I have zero recollection of that, but I'm glad that it wasn't anywhere near me.
And that's probably why, because, thankfully it was way far away. And finally, happy birthday to Billie Eilish. She is 24 today.
I know supposedly I'm lonely now. No, I'm supposed to be unhappy without someone.
So Billie Eilish has a very unique style, a very interesting, very entertaining style for a lot of people. The question I'd ask about her is kind of what you could have asked about Christina Aguilera and others. How do you modify that style just enough so that you don't get pigeonholed? Like, is Billie Eilish, you're going to say every song by Billie Eilish sounds the same? And is she going to demonstrate ongoing range as the years go by? So far, it's worked out just fine for her. 9 Grammy Awards, 2 Golden Globes, and oh, by the way, 2 Academy Awards. 2 Oscars for Billie Eilish, who turns 24 today.
Not bad. She's
should
done
do-
more than I have in my life.
I was going to say, Ellie Bordeaux turned 24 yesterday, and I just want to call her up right now and go, you feeling okay about this? Because, I mean, I'm 61, and I'm not going to get anything close to this, you know?
No,
Some
you
people-
could be the governor of Wisconsin, Pat. Remember.
Oh, don't start this again. No. Let us turn to the National Day calendar. What's happening there?
On the National Day calendar, Pat, it is Answer the Phone Like Buddy the Elf Day. If you are like me and you did not remember how Buddy the Elf answers
You don't
the phone.
remember? Oh, play it.
No, I did not remember. So, for those who don't remember, here you go.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Put that down. Hello? Hello?
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Can you imagine if you answered our callers like that when they called in to screen them? Parker here, what's your favorite color? That could be our question of the day.
There you
No.
go.
Yeah,
that'd
that'd be a
make
great
the
show.
phone lines fun.
Hi, caller, you're on. Blue, click. Hi, caller, you're on. Green, click. All right. If you want to answer the phone like Buddy the Elf, by all means, go for it. Just don't be surprised if, like in the movie, the caller goes, and hangs up. Okay? All right. What else we got on the calendar today?
We've also got National Bake Cookies Day.
Bake Cookies Day. I love to bake cookies.
So I was frosting cookies yesterday.
You were frosting the cookie. Now, do you bake cookies? Have you made cookies?
I cannot say I'm a big baking guy now.
You cannot say you're a big baking guy. Yeah. The question was, have you ever baked cookies?
I have probably participated in baking cookies.
So you have
I
never,
not done
on
so
your
on my
own,
own.
initiated the
No.
process of looking at the package on the back of a bag of chocolate chips because you can read and put things into a bowl and make the cookies, and it has never occurred to you to seize the initiative, and that way when your mom comes home, there's freshly baked cookies for her.
No, see, Pat, I'm a very content man.
Clearly, you're living with mom. She's making the cookies for you. No wonder you're parked outside and she's in the garage. If you ever want to get that garage spot, Parker, you're going to have to make me some cookies.
This morning when I left, I couldn't remember if I closed the garage door or not, so I had to go back and turn around to make sure I closed it.
Oh,
It was closed. I just wasted my time.
Welcome to adulthood. It only gets crazier from here. Let's see. I think there's one more calendar item.
Yes, we have also got Crime Junkie Day.
We know several crime junkies. Not that they're criminals, but that watching the crime shows, the murder shows, How to Catch a Murderer, or Dateline, and all those others. Who is you are? Mom's big into that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, she's probably thinking of ways to hide your body when you finally don't make her any cookies and she snaps. You know, the number.
I'm really worried about this cookies thing, Pat.
I'm saying you're a young man now who has the ability to do something new and surprising for the first time. And whether it's your mom or Christmas dinner or whatever the case may be, I think showing a little initiative would be wonderful. Especially when they, come out a little overdone and you go, hey, I tried. Okay.
I did burn the hell out of peanut brittle one time.
Okay. I now retract everything I said about you being able to make some cookies. Just leave it to mom. We got it from here. All right. Plenty ahead coming up here on this Thursday morning, powered by Up North News on the Civic Media Radio Network, including Joe Zepecki, Chad Holmes, Sean O'Malley, and more. We'll be back.
I'll see you in a couple years.
I could have picked something more upbeat to end that segment, couldn't I?
I should have. Well, I should have. What I should have done, Pat. I ought to have played this.
Mr. Grinch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
You're a 3-decker sauerkraut and toadstool
I love
sandwich.
this song.
Mm-hmm.
With arsenic sauce.
Yep, that's how it should have gone. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, those first three songs, fantastic off the beaten path kind of stuff.
Right.
It was very strong start to the history lesson.
Well, the calendar gives and the calendar it takes. Alicia, I once mistook baking soda for baking powder. Oh, yeah. Plenty of people have done that. Not the same thing.
Spring's Dream Yards. From their family to yours, happy holidays. From David J. Frank, Wisconsin's trusted landscape partner since 1959. Visit davidjfrank.com to start planning your 2026 landscape today.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
You've noticed a change in your teen. They seem distant, and you wonder if it's the usual ups and downs or something deeper, like substance use or mental health struggles. If you're worried, why wait to reach out? Hazelden Betty Ford offers specialized care for teens and young adults, plus support for families. Call 1-855-489-2383 or visit wegotyou.org, because love doesn't wait for a crisis, and change starts when you do. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
This is Robert Pilot, host of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we talk about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. You'll also hear from Turtle Island Boys.
30 seconds left in a break.
$855-75-CIVIC is our phone number, 855-752-4842. You can use the Civic Media app to call or text or leave a voice note for the show as well. Ted from Appleton is on the line right now. Ted, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When are the signs for Pat for governor coming out? I want to get one.
Jeez. Parker, did you set this up?
No, I may have instigated.
No.
Okay.
But hey,
all right.
Also, I want to just say the short time that I've been listening to you this summer, I'm going to miss you.
Well,
I've really enjoyed your show. I mean,
thank you. I mean, it really does underscore the point that you've only been listening for a short time. I just haven't worn you out yet, but you got to leave them wanting more, right?
Yeah, I mean, all my shows that I really liked this summer, they're disappearing on me, and I'm disappointed with Civic Media about that. But it is what it is.
Yep, it'll be a new year. Yep.
I really, really did enjoy your show here, sir.
Ted, thank you very much. I do deeply appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time to call, and I hope you have a great holiday season.
Oh yeah, I'm pushing snow piles, so I'm having a blast.
Yeah, I know. We're all living the dream up here on the tundra. All right, thanks, Ted. Have a great day.
Yeah,
all right,
you bet.
Good to hear from you. That was very kind. And Alicia says on YouTube, "Hey, I've been listening since late 2023, and I love your show." So we haven't worn out Alicia yet either, which is very kind. And yes, Civic Media is going to be doing all kinds of new things. In fact, if you look at your Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel this morning, you'll see the next thing that they're doing. They have purchased a newspaper and radio station in Milwaukee. The story here in the Journal-Sentinel, Civic Media is acquiring the state's first black-owned radio station and its sister newspaper. The Civic Media announced it's adding WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM, based out of Milwaukee, and the weekly Milwaukee Courier newspaper, taking over operations on January 1st. Dr. Gerald Jones founded the newspaper in 1964 and had been its president for over 60 years before passing away earlier this year at the age of 85. His company bought WNOV in 1972, making it the first black-owned radio station in Wisconsin, one of 30 in the United States. He added the Madison Times, a black newspaper in Madison, in 2013. Jones's daughter, Mary Ellen, says she and her brother will consult and assist with the transition. And there's also a quote in here from our friend Earl Ingram, Civic Media's longtime talk show host, podcast host. And he says, this transition marks a new beginning for a longstanding Milwaukee institution, allowing it to remain a beacon in the city's black community. Earl told the Journal-Sentinel, many of the staples of the station will remain, and a fresh new outlook, including a mix of young and old voices, will power it into a renewed community-centered platform. This is the same Civic Media that recently added stations in Michigan's Upper Peninsula and in Ely, Minnesota, and other places. And I am very proud to be associated with a network that is, for lack of a better term, resurrecting local radio in some of these communities. And let's make clear, Civic Media did not get into this to be the lefty network, the liberal network of Wisconsin. They went to bring in products, radio products, that people haven't heard in the better part of forever. There was a lot of syndicated, country music, DJs that, were in Hollywood someplace and couldn't find Wisconsin on a map. And now you've got music stations that are doing well with local voices. You've got AM stations with local news and local voices. And you have statewide talk shows like these. Now, I don't know the future of the statewide talk shows. I know their commitment to local news and local programming, and I think that's great, especially when you contrast it to something else that I've seen in the news here. And Roger from Stevens Point puts it up on Facebook. Cumulus Media, one of the big behemoths in broadcasting, announced yesterday they are shutting down one of Wisconsin's heritage AM signals on December 31st. WNAM 1280 has been serving the Fox Cities, Oshkosh, and Green Bay for nearly 80 years. Cumulus has shut down 20 other stations this year. I'm just going to put in here quickly, how many radio stations does Cumulus own? More than 400. More than 400 radio stations across 84 markets. That just shouldn't be. I'm sorry. When I grew up, the rules were a lot more restrictive. You could only own 7 AM stations, 7 FM stations, and 7 TV stations, and that was it. That was the limit. And then the limits were lifted after that, and it's been all corporatized ever since. And now I'm seeing these ads on local TV stations from the National Association of Broadcasters saying, well, we need to change the rules so that, big tech doesn't run everything. And I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. Yes. What is it that the broadcasters want so that big tech doesn't run anything? What they want is to loosen up the rules so that broadcast companies can own even more stations than they can own right now. How's that going to improve your local programming? It's not. It just turns your radio and TV stations into a printing press, for the corporate owners. So if you can have local ownership, or at least state and regional ownership like you have here, there's a reason why folks have been tuning into these stations, and I appreciate that you're tuning into these shows and some of the other shows that we've had over time. There will be more shows after that, because that's the nature of radio. Radio has some folks that are around for a long time, like a Jane Matinaire, but even Jane Matinaire has worked at how many stations during her career, and then other shows that come and go, and you give them all a try without letting things get stale. God knows Jane never got stale. That's why she had a 40-plus year career in radio, because people like you appreciate people like her and shows like this. So while we're moving on to other things here, Civic Media is going to continue to grow while keeping that hometown commitment. And that's something that ought to be saluted, and I, for one, do. And I'm very happy about their purchase of WNOV in Milwaukee. Sean O'Malley's going to talk about your money and the markets and what it is the president was trying to say about the economy in that ranting speech last night. That's all coming up after the news. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Real news and great conversation. A Civic Media station. WMDXradio.com.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Trump speaking to the country in what was billed as a year-end address.
Inflation has stopped. Wages are up.
The president saying prices are falling fast, although certain products like beef and coffee are up. And experts say Trump's tariffs have contributed to inflation. Among the announcements during his speech, a so-called warrior dividend check, which Trump says will be sent to nearly 1.5 million military service members. He says the checks for $1,776 will be funded by tariffs.
ABC's Sophie Flay. When it comes to health care, the president did not offer any specific plans, and Congress is getting ready to leave for the holiday break without voting on extending the ACA subsidies for premiums. That means that premiums are set to skyrocket in the new year next week. Still searching around Brown University for the shooter who opened fire at the school, killing 2. Pope Leo tapping fellow Chicagoan Bishop Ronald Hicks to be the next Archbishop of New York. This is ABC News.
Your neighbors are talking. Leaders are deciding. Madison's story unfolds daily on 92.7 WMDX.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Enrollment for healthcare through the marketplace ended this week, and without action from Congress, millions across the country will have a spike in premiums in 2026. Melissa Kay reports from Central Wisconsin.
Premium tax credits through the Affordable Care Act help low- and middle-income families pay for their health insurance. Sue Smith is the Wood County Health Officer. She said the response from the community on concerns about rising healthcare costs isn't what she anticipated.
I kind of expected our WIC program to see an increase in enrollment, which we really haven't seen that yet, especially with the concerns around SNAP and food insecurity issues and things. But it sounds like some of that's connected to people being worried about ICE, if they participate in some of those programs.
While some of what she's hearing is anecdotal, Smith said she did hear directly from one person about losing their health insurance.
I did have an employee mention to me that she and her family had lost their insurance coverage recently, so it sounds like it's happening.
Smith recommended people reach out to the health department if they're struggling to cover healthcare costs.
I guess the short answer is yes, it does sound like people are experiencing those issues, and I guess I would suggest to that population, if they need help, to reach out to Human Services just to see what programming they might be eligible for, reach out to the health department and see if there's anything we can connect them to as well as far as safety nets.
The U.S. Senate last week failed to advance 2 competing proposals aimed at addressing the coming lapse in coverage. The U.S. House now takes up the issue, but both chambers are set to adjourn until January on Friday.
Often people who benefit from these healthcare plan subsidies are ones who don't have a traditional employer, like people who are self-employed and farmers. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
Wisconsin in the Final Four. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Women's college volleyball. It's the Wisconsin Badgers tonight against number 1 ranked Kentucky. Coverage on ESPN. The Badgers head coach Kelly Sheffield.
My dad passed away a few months ago. He would have loved watching this team. The Final Four is just so special. It is so incredible. And when you've been there, it's almost a every fiber of your being, you want as many of your players that are committed, that decide to come here, that you want them to experience that.
NBA, the Bucks host the Toronto Raptors tonight at Fiserv Forum. NFL, Packers wide receiver Christian Watson back at practice after spending time in a Denver hospital with that shoulder injury.
I think it's how I hit the ground. Just like I think my elbow had hit first, so it kind of just jams your shoulder up into your shoulder. I'm not sure, but yeah, just how I landed was a little awkward.
That's Christian Watson with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
Construction barrels bloom every spring. So do opinions. WMDX, guiding Madison through life's most predictable surprises.
Cloudy today with rain showers this morning. A little snow possible by late this afternoon. It's going to be windy too, with a south wind becoming west, gusting to 30 to 40 today, and falling temperatures from near 40 this morning into the low 20s by late this afternoon. Temperatures drop tonight, still windy with a low of 6 above. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
Pete Schwaba.
Very sad news about Rob Reiner. What do you think the highest rated Rob Reiner movie is, Con?
The Princess Bride?
No, it was number 2 at 96%.
96? Wow.
It's 96. Show me those 4% that did not like The Princess Bride, or the 2% who didn't like Spinal Tap. Although Spinal Tap was a mockumentary, I could see that could be maybe just not someone's cup of tea. But The Princess Bride?
They just don't like movies.
Exactly.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 5 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm Rick Smith, host of The Rick Smith Show. If you're looking for honest talk, real stories, and straight-up news that matters to you, tune in to The Rick Smith Show. We're digging into
Does
the
anybody
issues that affect
really
your
know
job,
what
your
time it is?
30 seconds left in a break.
Well, it turns out somebody does.
Across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
Slurping from a coffee cup that says, I am silently correcting your grammar. I am Pat Kreitlow. It's nice to have you back here up north at 7:06 on a Thursday morning, December 18th, 2025. Parker Olson producing things down in Madison Studio A2. Coming up later on, we will have Sean O'Malley talking about your money and your markets and that address from the White House yesterday by President Grumpy, screaming about how the economy is not as bad as you think it is and that it's all somebody else's fault. And Sean will take a look at the numbers and probably have to correct the record coming up in just a little bit. Also, I'm going to have a few words to say in just a few minutes here about your property tax bills. They are higher by and large, and there's a perfectly good reason for it. And there's a new report out that tries to lay out the reason, but they're too kind. They need more than 2,000 words to say something that could really be summed up in like maybe 2 words, lazy legislature or something like that. So that's coming up. But first, let's see, from Rob in Tigerton, because we only get 2 more weather reports from him today and tomorrow. Good morning from Tigerton. We have drizzle and 38 degrees. Was in Shawano yesterday for a doctor's appointment, then stacking up on salt for a possible flash freeze later today. And watch out for those snow squalls as well. Yes, Rob, you be careful out there on the roads as well. We were discussing earlier in our history lesson Christmas songs, and that there should be like, I don't know if it's a Hall of Fame balloting thing, Parker, or what, but at some point there's this designation of this is that person's song and nobody else gets to sing it. We were talking about All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. Every other version I've heard, it's like, why? Why are you even trying to do that? Why? And so Jim in Campbell Sport texted in saying that he and his wife were discussing the same thing. And he had these suggestions that Holly Jolly Christmas should only belong to Burl Ives. The Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, Nat King Cole, Happy Christmas, War's Over by John Lennon, and To Just Keep It Going. And, sometimes the person who wrote the song and maybe even sang it the first time, it's not necessarily their song. For example, Dolly Parton wrote I Will Always Love You. But as soon as Whitney Houston sang it in The Bodyguard, it was like, sorry, Dolly, this is not your song anymore. This is now Whitney Houston's. Similarly, Billy Joel wrote Shameless. But a year or two later, Garth Brooks recorded Shameless. At that point, it's like, Billy, I'm sorry, this is no longer your song.
Sorry,
we're just
you've been shown up. This is not yours.
Yep.
Sorry, you lost.
It all started with Thurl Ravenscroft singing, "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." And I mean, you can all have fun with it if you want, but as far as playing it on the radio, I just want to hear the one. I just want to hear the original. So what about you? Do you have versions of songs that you'd be really happy just to hear that one person's version and nobody else really needs to? Because it's not like we're done making Christmas songs. There are more Christmas songs all the time. Kelly Clarkson did Underneath the Tree not that long ago, and I really like that one. So there's always new stuff that's coming along. It's just that some of the classics, they got to be classics because one person did it and they did it just right.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know that necessarily that it's just right, but sometimes it just feels odd to hear a different voice. Even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it really kind of throws you off and you're thinking, okay,
disorienting.
Maybe this person has a really good take on it and they don't. It's just kind of very vanilla by comparison.
It's kind of like if you ever listen to the original Broadway track of a show.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd to later hear the 25th anniversary version of it, or maybe there's one or the other. And once you find the one you like, it's like, oh no, why did we ever do this with the other person?
Now, Greg asked, what about Little Drummer Boy? Why do we need more versions? Well, for that one, I'd have to know which version you're talking about. Is it like the I forget who did the real original. It's one of those choral groups or something like that. Or are you talking about Bing Crosby and David Bowie doing Little Drummer Boy, Peace on Earth? Because that one doesn't have to be remade by anybody. And Tony asking, so this is a classic radio show? Well, only in the sense that nobody should try to do a show like this anymore. There's only so much sarcasm and old man stories that you can fit into one morning radio show. Nobody else needs to be doing that. So,
only got a couple hours left, Pat.
Yes, that's right.
Do whatever we want.
Yeah, do what we want. Let's see. Chad Holmes is also coming up in our next hour here as well. And then from a sports standpoint, let's work our way backwards. On Saturday, the Packers are in Chicago taking on the Bears. Coverage begins at 5 o'clock Saturday evening on several civic media stations. On Friday, the Badger men's basketball team is back in action against Villanova. Let's see if they have learned anything from the long layoff since that last embarrassment. You can hear the game 6:30 Friday night on a few civic media radio stations. And then tonight, the Badger volleyball team in the Final Four, and they will be taking on Kentucky and hopefully moving on to the national championship game on Sunday. Oh, wait, I forgot the River Falls football team. That's Saturday, right?
That is Saturday at noon. You can stream it on ESPN+. They'll be playing against Johns Hopkins.
All right. Tom in Hartford on the text line, Silent Night, done by Mercy Me, the Christian rock band, is a favorite of his. So I've not heard that one. Now I have something else that I get to look up. Always on the lookout for my next favorite Christmas song. All right, let's talk about a new report that came out from the Wisconsin Policy Forum, a nonpartisan research group that does great work taking budget items and policy items and kind of putting them into plain English as best they can. And I grant you, not everybody sits around reading reports that are put out by the Wisconsin Policy Forum. But I do, and other reporters do. And frankly, a lot of other people would learn a lot and have maybe a better appreciation for what has to happen at the state or local government level if you looked at what they did. And they looked at the big hike in local property taxes this month. All the property tax bills came out, last week, this week. They got to get paid first half at least pretty soon here. And the average K-12 property tax bill is up 7.8%. That's the highest increase in more than 3 decades. And a lot of people will look at that line under the school district on a property tax bill, see a much higher number, and assume it is the school district's fault, that they are getting greedy, that they are trumping up the schools with gold-plated toilets and things like that. And that is decidedly not the case. The report says, and in a story about it by Jesse O'Poyne in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, points out that there are a couple of different factors that lead to this jump in property taxes, and greed by your local school board is not one of the reasons. There were decisions made in the most recent state budget by the legislature, and then the follow-up would be the referendums that were held by local property tax payers and voters in their local school districts. Now, the new state budget, as approved by the legislature and signed by the governor, included an increase in how much school districts are allowed to raise for revenue. Again, you got to keep in mind that your school district cannot just wave a wand and say, we want to increase the amount of spending like massively. There are actually state-imposed limits that say this is the most you can raise the taxes by and spending, and you've got to stay within that. And the legislature can alter that level. Well, the level also got altered because of a veto in the last state budget by Governor Tony Evers, who wanted to give school districts more wiggle room than the Republican-led legislature was willing to give school districts. And so as a result, for the next 400 years, because of the way the veto was written, school districts can increase their state-imposed limits by $325 a student. And Republicans are out here screaming that it's a 400-year tax increase from Governor Evers. For 400 years, your taxes are guaranteed to go up. They're not. That's an increase in the amount the school districts, are allowed to increase their revenue, but they don't have to do it in taxes. They don't have to do it at all if they don't vote to, but they also don't have to do it if the legislature were to fund that part of it with state dollars that come from things like a state income tax, which is far more fair to far more people than a property tax. But if a legislature chooses not to increase state funding, and a school district wants to increase their revenue by $325 a student, then they got to go to the voters and say, would you be okay raising your property taxes? And by and large, voters have been saying, yes, they understand that the legislature is not lifting up its share of the load. It is passing the buck, quite literally, onto local districts and therefore onto local property taxpayers. The higher property taxes that you're seeing in Wisconsin right now are the direct result of a Republican-led legislature that put in $0 new dollars in state general aid to school districts. No increase at all in general school aid. Did prices stay steady? Did nobody in school districts get a raise or earn a raise? No. And so if the legislature puts in $0, and they've got the ability to raise anywhere from $0 to $325 per pupil, the only place they can go for that is the property tax levy. Thankfully, voters have been understanding this, but getting a little bit less so, and they're getting very frustrated. And it is why I have said repeatedly, when there is a referendum in your district, say yes to the referendum. Say no to the legislators who put you in that position of having to vote to raise your own property taxes. So the Wisconsin Policy Forum, again, great organization, great work, took a little over 2,000 words to say what could have been said in a much more succinct manner. A lazy legislature passing the buck to property taxpayers. Once we all understand that, the sooner we can make decisions to potentially have new legislators that will put a focus not on anything extravagant, but on simply enabling school districts to keep up with inflation. If you've never heard this stat before, brace yourself. for the past 18 years now. 18 years. State funding has not kept up with the pace of inflation. If there had been no new dollars put into school districts other than keeping up with the rate of inflation, schools would be in a healthy place, property taxes would still be at a more affordable level, and we wouldn't be facing this crisis. This is a manufactured crisis by Republicans in the legislature who simply want to pass the buck. In much the same way as we discussed recently how they're not applying money from professional fees into the department that processes professional licenses. That money could be applied and it could reduce wait times and improve customer services, but they don't want to do that because it gets in the way of their narrative that government is broken. And government is only broken when they seem to be in charge and do stuff like this. Sean Duffy's coming up to talk about your money. Sean O'Malley.
Sean Duffy, whoa.
Wow, wouldn't that be something? That would be a whole different thing. We'll talk about the possibilities later. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. It is Pat Kreitlow, right? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, God.
I'm scared myself.
It's like, whoa. I didn't know about this. Who let that happen? Who scheduled him?
At Madison Hearing Aid Center. They're at 4706 Cottage Grove Road. Call them and make an appointment at 608-249-4077. You can take an initial hearing test online at madisonhearingaidcenter.com. Don't let your hearing loss frustrate you anymore. They help John and Gordy hear better, and they can help you too. Madison Hearing Aid Center.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare by simplifying care.
We are going
and
to
improving
do
health.
the entertainment stories next.
The Eco Minute, powered by Clean Wisconsin, your environmental voice since 1970. I'm Amy Barrio. $159 million going to help communities across Wisconsin remove and replace lead water pipes. Governor Evers announced the funding will go to Rice Lake, Chippewa Falls, Oshkosh, Milwaukee, Racine, Thorpe, and Manitowoc. The money was allocated by Congress in 2021 as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law. The Public Service Commission of Wisconsin being sued for refusing to release information about an AI data center in Beaver Dam. The commission redacted documents to hide how much energy the metadata center will use, then refused to comply with an open records request, calling the data center's energy use a trade secret. Legal nonprofit Midwest Environmental Advocates filed a lawsuit saying the move violates open records law. Right now on the Defender podcast, what to know about PFAS in pesticides. Listen at cleanwisconsin.org.
30 seconds left in a break.
Greg on YouTube is rightly asking, hey, is Ron Johnson coming on after Sean Duffy this morning, Pat? No. Sean O'Malley is coming on. Tony noting that on our last couple of shows here, we're hearing from lots of longtime listeners. When is Derek Van Orden calling in? I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for that one. Alicia says there's a legislator yelling about a 25% increase on his school district taxes. Apparently forgot there was a referendum that passed last November because, again, his or her neighbors want to continue supporting their local schools. Reminder that Up North News is part of Courier Newsroom. You can head over to couriernewsroom.com to read news from all of our various state outlets, including Up North News, get links to podcasts and merchandise and more. A little late this morning, but Parker has some entertainment headlines for us.
Yes, we do, Pat. Coming up in 2029, the Oscars will be moving away from ABC, where they've always been, as far as I know.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they'll be seen on YouTube.
This is interesting. Okay, now first off, that it's not until 2029. I mean, talk about planning ahead. But no, seriously, who knows if there'll be a YouTube in 2029? You know, it's like saying,
I think there'll be a YouTube.
Oh, we've talked about companies in the past that you thought were going to be around forever, and then they weren't. You know, it might be called something totally different by then. Maybe Elon Musk will buy it, and it'll be called, you know, like XTube or something amazingly stupid like that. Anyway, but it's interesting that even though it is, you know, almost 4 years away, moving from a national televised network to YouTube, where anybody can see it, is rightly being described as a watershed moment for the entertainment business. I can't say that I'm terribly surprised, simply because much like the Grammys, the Emmys, the Golden Globes, you know, all of these things, people look at it and they go, I don't know what these are. Our entertainment audience is so fractured these days, and especially the Emmys, more so than the Oscar. I mean, when was the last time a TV network actually won a whole bunch of Emmys? You know, they put it on their network and they watch as HBO and Prime and all these others, Netflix, get all these awards. So if it's just not, you know, the ratings haven't been great. So sure, why not move the Oscars to YouTube? But by 2029, we're all going to be streaming everything anyway. So, I mean, it seems like they're just getting ahead of the game.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You surprised me there, Pat. I thought you were going to be a little more down on this.
No, I'm down right at the moment on the broadcast networks, simply because, again, they're so outnumbered by all these other places that don't play by the same rules. Which is not to say there isn't a place for broadcasting. Of course there is, but with such a fractured entertainment audience, it's tough to have any single big moment for a network. It's why they pay so much for the Super Bowl and, you know, the Final Four and things like that. So yeah, again, it's years away, but the Oscars are heading for streaming, apparently.
It's also not a very long deal. It runs through 2033, so it's only 4 or 5 years of being on there. So.
Well, what do I like to say? There is no 5-year plan. There's a lot. You know. There's a lot that can happen to that. So, what else we got?
I honestly do not remember if I mentioned this yesterday or not. Netflix has promised that if they do buy Warner Bros., if the shareholders decide to go that route, they will continue to release studio movies in theaters rather than just by streaming. So you do have that going for you.
I still love that you say Warner Bros. Yeah, I mean,
else should I say?
Warner Brothers, the name of the company. But anyway, Netflix's CEO says they have a commitment to movies in the theater, and that, you know, not everything that Warner Brothers Discovery makes would immediately go to Netflix. Which, you know, that makes sense. People still do like to go to the movies. I mean, we went, this past weekend to see Wicked for Good, and the thing is, it's not the only way to see movies now. So you're not going to have movies making as much as, you know, Gone with the Wind back in the day and things like that. But, you know, your Marvel movies and other things, people are going to want to see that in a theater. So, you know, let's not tap dance on the grave of movie theaters yet. No. There will be a place for it. It's just that they won't be there for months. They'll be there for a certain window, and then everybody else can stream it at home because they've decided they're okay seeing movies that way.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how many movies, because I don't go to a lot of movie theaters. I'm trying to remember what movies I've seen in theaters. It's not many.
No, because again, there's if you're just looking for like a really good story and things like that, I mean, with Rob Reiner's passing, we talked about a lot of his movies. Those are not movies that you race out to see in a theater nowadays. They are great TV movies. They are. But you at least want, for people that love to see films on the big screen, you want to at least have that initial, release on the silver screen and then have a streaming option. I am not taking sides in the Warner Brothers dispute, whether it's Netflix or Paramount. Well, I guess I'm taking sides if it's anybody but Paramount, because, they're just turning into Evil Incorporated at this point. But you're looking for that commitment to all modes of entertainment. We're not going all streaming. Just like broadcast TV isn't going away, neither are the movie theaters. You got one more?
Cher will be the musical guest on SNL this week. It'll be the first time in almost 40 years that she'll have done that.
Seriously, Cher?
Yeah, Cher. Seriously.
Okay.
December 20th, she'll be the musical guest.
I mean, Cher, or
Ariana
will
Grande hosting.
Will it be an auto tune? That sounds like Cher, because I mean,
no word on whether or not it'll be live. It is possible that she'll be lip syncing. Nobody knows.
No, I think
nobody knows.
She'll be fine. I would look forward to that. A lot of people will be curious to see, and I say that without even knowing how old she is. Other than it's been a while. She's a good entertainer, and let's see if she, like Keith Richards, who turned 82 today, can still get it done. Sean O'Malley is coming up after the break. I'm Pat Kreitlow. You're up north. That's a great line. Yeah, Nicole Kidman. Tell me all about the magic of cinema. And then get Tom Cruise to give the exact same speech, How's Mr. O'Malley today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm okay. Little melancholy, but it's fun. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, change does that.
Yeah, you've worked at a place or two in your time.
Yeah, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 12 or
right. See, yeah, neither one of us is getting the gold watch for 40 years of service to a single employer.
Oh no! Oh my God! I mean, in New York, a long time was 3 years.
Yeah,
to stay at one company.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that in the places where you worked there on Wall Street, that if somebody had been there for, let's say, 10 years, it either had to be in, by comparison, kind of more of a I was going to say a grunt position, but not a something like at the executive level, or there's something wrong with them, or you're like, wait, have you figured out how to siphon some of the money out of there, and that's the reason you're staying in this position? God, I'm so cynical now.
Yeah, usually it was one of two reasons: they had compromising pictures of their boss and didn't have to work that hard, or no one else was going to hire them. So those are the two reasons.
Yeah. Did you watch Trump's speech last night?
I saw some of the replay. I mean, there's a plethora of evidence to be used for the commitment hearing.
25th Amendment, boys and girls. That's right. All right. So that said, we'll start with a general overview. We'll get into all of your notes here, but
yeah, we should have the CPI number coming out very, very shortly, and that's the one that the market's really focused on. But we can go off script if you want to go to something a little more political. I'm prepped.
Okay, sounds good. Just looking to see. Yeah, I'm so used to these things that they normally come out like right at 7:30, like right on the dot here.
Yeah, and it's like,
Let's see. Here it is.
It is 8:32 their time. Like
2.7%. Core inflation rose at a rate of 2.6%.
Okay. Given what was in Trump's speech last night, I'm going to cast a lot of doubt on the veracity of those numbers. I think that is absolute crap.
Okay, good. We'll have you explain that too. All right, we will get going in 2 minutes.
Secret show.
Side of things, 40-pound block cheese closed yesterday with no change at $1.39 3/4. AA butter closed up 1.5 cents at $4.46 3/4. To stay up to date on the latest Wisconsin ag news, visit MidwestFarmReport.com. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Kylie Allen.
Local news, real voices, and conversations that count. That's Madison. And that's 92.7 WMDX.
Cloudy today with rain showers this morning. A little snow possible by late this afternoon. It's going to be windy too, with a south wind becoming west, gusting to 30 to 40 today, and falling temperatures from near 40 this morning into the low 20s by late this afternoon. Temperatures drop tonight, still windy, with a low of 6 above. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
Afternoons with John and Gordy.
As we watch this crazy, mad world unwind before us, we're told to believe things that are completely opposite. And it's just driving me crazy. It really is. I play clips because
30 seconds left in a break.
All right, we're back at 7:35, joined by Sean O'Malley, finance and economics expert, talking about your money in the markets. There's some breaking news about the president's own business dealings, converting his company from a media company to a nuclear fusion company that we're going to get into in just a bit. There are brand new inflation numbers that just came out minutes ago, at least we think. Maybe there's something wrong with these numbers, but where we really got to start is the president's quote unquote speech on the economy. And pardon me a minute while I back away, Sean, from the microphone so I can do this properly. Why is the president yelling during his speech? I mean, why he yelled the whole thing, saying you're not feeling what you're actually feeling, and I'm sure he's going to point to these new inflation numbers that came out minutes ago and say, you see, inflation is entirely in check. It says the consumer price index rose 2.7% in November from the same time last year. Core inflation rose at an annual rate of 2.6%. Was the president like telegraphing what these numbers were going to be this morning?
That is exactly what I was thinking when I was watching the excerpts of the speech last night. His focus on affordability, he's going to bring down prices immediately. And I thought, okay, that tells me you're probably going to cook the numbers immediately because you can't actually impact prices. I mean, that's a buying and selling decision that the market determines based on supply and demand, as any good economist knows. So I was expecting something more in line with what we saw in September, which was a 3.0% increase in inflation and CPI. And to see it come in drastically lower makes me very suspicious about those numbers in their entirety. It's too much of a drop. I mean, you normally don't see inflation drop that rapidly.
You are not alone. New York Times chief economics correspondent Ben Castleman just posted, I would take these numbers with a hefty dose of salt. Economists warned that distortions related to the shutdown could bias the inflation numbers downward. It certainly looks possible that that's what happened here.
Yep.
So, yeah, So now we get back to the speech where the president says, are you going to believe me or your lying eyes as you look at the price tags on the shelves there? Was he trying to convince Americans or was he trying to convince himself that, there isn't still an affordability crisis in this country?
I think he was trying to say don't believe what you're seeing on the shelves. Believe what I'm telling you. And I don't know if he recognizes. I don't know what he recognizes. Honestly, his cognitive decline is pretty significant at this point. But I think he's primarily trying to preach to the choir, if you will. He's trying to win back the MAGA Republicans, which they have been leaving him. So he's trying to hang on to the base because I think it's all he's got left.
Okay. Sean O'Malley joining us here. We're talking about your money, the markets, the economy. Again, because of the shutdown, there were numbers that didn't come out, but there are jobs numbers that indicate where jobs went in November after going down in October. But, I mean, it feels like anemic is still an apt word for describing the jobs picture in this country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you had unemployment go from, 4.4% in September to 4.6% in November. Now, that one sounds pretty right. You're definitely seeing more people having trouble finding jobs. You're having people hang on to the jobs that they've got, even though they're not happy with them. And one statistic I saw that was particularly interesting is that the number of people with more than one job has been going up significantly and is at basically a new high for the the last several years, up at 5.7%. This is a situation where the jobs picture is not looking particularly promising, and people are doing what they have to do to keep their themselves afloat financially.
Yeah, especially to either afford things like childcare, or perhaps a parent now has to stay home because childcare isn't affordable or available, and so the other spouse is now the one working two jobs, in order to try to keep up with things. So, I mean, all in all, what was the word during the Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan phase? Malaise.
Yes, malaise.
That we're getting close to bringing back those stagflation, malaise, and other elements of things that did not seem to be the case as we were coming out of the pandemic, but we certainly are not in the same economy that we were, a year and a half ago.
No, that's why it's kind of funny to listen to President Trump deliver a speech trying to talk up the economy in particular, when, as someone who tracks it and has tracked it for decades, I know it's not great. And I was tracking it and tracked all the numbers last year. And I know we are absolutely worse in every category across the board. Unemployment's higher. Prices continue to go up. And I think for a lot of Americans, it's a very tough environment. GDP is down from where it was last year.
Yeah. So to say America is back, it's like, well, back to what exactly is what we're wondering here. We're talking to Sean O'Malley, a Hudson native with a long Wall Street career in anti-money laundering, financial risk management, data analytics and compliance, fraud and risk management. And we've looked at the inflation numbers. We have talked about the jobs numbers. Let's look now at the Federal Reserve that determines interest rates and is a foundational part of our economy. And what developed there in terms of we know Trump has wanted to influence the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. What is happening on that front?
Right. Very interesting what happened right after the Open Market Committee meeting, where they did drop interest rates 1/4 point. So Trump should be happy about that. But what they did was also something very unusual. They basically reappointed 11 of the 12 current governors on the Federal Reserve Board. There are 12 plus the chairman. We know that Trump has been putting a lot of pressure on Chairman Jerome Powell, whom he appointed, ironically, of course.
Yeah.
And Powell's term is coming up next year, and there's been a lot of talk and a lot of concern, particularly since Trump tried to fire one of the Fed governors and lost in court, of course, so she still has her job. And he wants the Federal Reserve to cut rates, to lower rates, because what happens when you cut interest rates? Usually the stock market goes on a tear, and that's what he wants. That's his barometer, his metric that he uses to gauge economic success. Okay. So what the Federal Reserve did is they they reappointed 11 of the 12 governors for a 5-year term. Now, normally these people are appointed on a rolling 14-year schedule. Okay, so this is something new. But what it effectively does is that it makes the Federal Reserve Trump-proof, because all of their appointments aren't going to come up again until after the end of Trump's second term here, no matter what.
Hold on, I'm confused. Who when you say that they were unanimously reappointed, by who? Who does the reappointment? Is this Congress, or are they reappointing themselves to 5-year terms, or?
Basically, yes. It's the Board of Governors themselves that will go and vote to reappoint or to appoint whomever to a particular position, which is why typically, it's with the 14-year term and 12 of them, you get, one every year on average ish. But to go and say, okay, we're making sure that we lock in what we've got now so that we can't be stacked with a bunch of Trump loyalists, that changes the picture.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I found the Associated Press story. The Federal Reserve Governing Board unanimously approved the reappointment of nearly all of the Fed's 12 regional bank presidents as a way to make them Trump-proof here. And, I mean, it really is a sign of the times here that we have to Trump-proof things in order to maintain what little independence is left in some of the agencies of our government.
Right, because what Trump has been doing, I mean, what he's doing on tariffs, let's be really candid about this. He is totally screwing over the U.S. economy with this. Okay, he's raising prices, he's lowering jobs, he's lowering, slowing economic activity, and on top of that, the trade deficit, which it was designed to attack, has actually grown. So it has been a failure in every single way possible. And the problem is it's doing damage to the U.S. economy and will continue to do so unless it is stopped. We saw what happened with Smoot-Hawley. That's what really pushed economic activity, all the way down, just, I mean, to a highly significant degree, because they thought, oh, this is the solution. Tariffs are never the solution unless you're trying to, actively protect a particular industry or penalize the producer country of some product or raw material.
Well, that's where it was. It's interesting that Trump said last night that he's taking all of those tariff dollars that were paid in by foreign countries. No, they weren't. And he's now sending out, these warrior rebate checks of $1,776. And yet a court at any point could say, actually, no, you have to refund all of this because your tariffs were not legal.
Right. You've got the Costco lawsuit that is attempting to do exactly that for at least Costco. You also have another, class action suit against it. And let's not forget, you still are waiting to hear from the Supreme Court. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
They went and had the hearing, but now they're saying, well, maybe they'll release a judgment before the end of the year. But some people are saying, no, it's going to be 2026. But the thing is, people are expecting that he's going to lose, as he does most of his lawsuits in court cases. And then he's going to try to claim there are a couple of other provisions that he can try to claim under and basically kind of restart the whole legal process again, which sounds just like Trump.
Well, here's another thing that sounds like Trump. His media company is apparently no longer going to be a media company. It's now going to be in the business of nuclear fusion. Trump Media and Technology Group and TAE Technologies, a fusion power company, said they've agreed to an all-stock merger valued at more than $6 billion. It would transform Trump's company into, again, clean fusion, which is a still experimental technology of a clean energy alternative that could provide the enormous amounts of electricity needed by AI data centers. The deal, however, is likely to draw scrutiny as it would indirectly put a company owned by the president in competition with other firms looking to power and profit from the AI revolution. Want to see my shocked face that the president is looking to give himself a personal stake and an advantage over competitors?
Yeah, well, right. That's just like, Binance with CZ, their chairman, putting in a $2 billion investment into World Liberty Financial, which basically put $2 billion directly into Donald Trump's pocket. And gee, what do you know? CZ got a pardon.
Oh, man, it's just unbelievable. Sean, I've really appreciated getting these updates from you. It's good to check in with an old high school friend who's done such wonderful things and brings such great perspective to all of this. Thanks for being a part of the radio show, and I hope we get to keep partnering on other endeavors in the very near future.
Indeed. Look forward to it.
All
Have a
right.
great 2026, and I'll be there with you.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Happy holidays to you. Coming up, we will be talking in our next hour with Chad Holmes from our station in Wausau. Joe Zepecki is coming up as well. Live from the lake, I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. Follow us at upnorthnewswi.com. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Oh, it looks so gross out there right now.
Oh yeah, it was really crummy down here too.
Oh. See, temperature says here's 39, so that is rain.
It's rain, yeah.
But
I've got 39.
I worry about what that's going to look like later on.
Yeah.
James, how are you?
Good. Can confirm it looks disgusting out here.
It really does. Holy cow.
I was shocked at how dark it was on my way in this morning. I know I come into the office pretty early, but there's usually a glimpse of sunlight.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. There is nothing. Oh, let's see. Where's the notes here? Here we go. Let's see. Okay, we can do that. Yep, that is all cool. And then do you have your own plans for Christmas and New Year's?
I am going back to New York for the week, leaving tomorrow night pretty late.
Okay. And how long do you get to be off?
Be off all next week, probably come back on Sunday, I think it is. Forget, I booked the ticket so long ago, I got to double check when my flight is.
Okay.
How many underwear do I need to pack?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So luckily we have laundry at home, so.
Yeah.
It's like, Mom, laundry.
Oh, you two and your moms, I tell you. Have you baked cookies for your mom ever, James?
We don't bake cookies, period. We're not a cooking family.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you can adopt Parker. He's going to get evicted here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got here? Just under 2 minutes to go. I'm trying to think. There really isn't much else for news over here, which is why we were doing entertainment news a half hour ago.
Well, it's been I've got a little submission to the Christmas song list.
Oh, good. Okay.
I like it.
Good. We'll like that. All right. Sounds good. 90 seconds, and then we're back.
I wasn't sure about the audience, and we started to play I Want You Back, and suddenly they were right at the stage, and people were smiling and totally into it, and I was like, this is awesome.
And VO5 hasn't stopped since, even receiving a proclamation from the Madison mayor for Days of Disco in honor of VO5. John Faith plays guitar.
Every single show, I think, okay, people are finally going to get tired. And it just becomes a party. People want to dance and people don't want to stop.
So whether you love disco or secretly love disco, happy anniversary to VO5. Until next time, I'm Terry Barr.
Seems like nobody in America agrees on much of anything these days.
But can we agree the federal government shouldn't tax people into poverty?
Pat, don't forget 30 seconds.
Got it. $7:52 on a Thursday morning. Let's check in with James Kelly, Civic Media reporter in our Chippewa Valley newsroom. James, how are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
We're good, thanks. We've been having a good chat about Christmas music and the songs that should just belong to a single artist. No more remakes are allowed. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for an hour now since that conversation happened, and I can't decide if DMX's version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer belongs to him or if it should never be played again. I just know every time I hear it, I think,
Did you
I can't
say
believe I exist at this
DMX
time.
has done a version of Rudolph?
Oh, yeah, and you know what, Pat? It's exactly what you're imagining in your head.
No,
it's
Parker.
exactly what you're imagining.
I'm working
Parker,
on
you're on this, right?
Is
Tell
it
me.
clean? That's
I'm
my
I'm
question.
almost
Oh,
positive
is it
it's
clean?
I think
Yes,
it's the
that
actual
is-
lyrics, just DMX version.
All right.
Oh my goodness, this is so worth waiting for.
Here we go.
Okay. Oh my. Oh, please don't swear.
Oh God, I got scared there.
Oh, I know he
Yeah, so I
Oh,
can't
this
decide
makes
if
me
that
so
belongs in the right
happy.
one. Like,
This
should that
makes-
only be DMX's?
That might be. He might have just taken ownership of that song right there from beyond the grave. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's great. That James, that was the best Christmas present. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got you.
Good.
Yep,
Well done.
you totally did. It is raining and 39 degrees here in the Chippewa Valley. It looks just so gross out there, and the temperatures are going to drop all day. And so that all is going to freeze up at some point. And at some point, it's going to become snow again, although it's going to, we're losing some snow cover here. But at some point, they'll have to plow the streets in Eau Claire again. And James, you're here to tell us that folks got to step up.
Yeah, the city manager's weekly report last week had a little note about, some parts of the city maybe aren't adhering to those alternate side parking rules as closely as they should be. They noted Randall Park neighborhood. And I am now just apparently the alternate side parking guy during the winter on
I
this
guess
show.
so. Yeah.
I don't want anybody to get a ticket. You're going to feel really dumb if you park on the wrong side of the street, you wake up in the morning to go to work and find out that your car's been towed. Just follow the alternate side parking rules.
Right. I mean, just put the Post-it note right there on the door going into the
Oh, yeah.
garage, and get it right. So, and I'm sure it's not just Eau Claire where this is an issue, but they clearly are letting people know they got to do better the next time they get some snow.
It's still early season.
Yep. One of the big stories from the northwestern part of the state this week deals with the Enbridge Line 5 pipeline running across far northern Wisconsin, especially the Bad River tribal community. What's happening there?
Yeah, Earth Justice is a law firm that's representing the Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. They filed a new lawsuit this week against the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that alleges that they're violating a couple federal clean water and environmental protection standards when they issued the permits for this project. There's also this ongoing state contested case hearing. The hearing part of that wrapped up earlier last month, and there should be a decision sometime in the next few months. But whoever's on the wrong side of that decision is likely to appeal it to the next highest court. So it's probably going to be a while before all of this works out. And Enbridge Energy had a deadline of June to reroute this pipeline. So we'll see what happens with that.
My goodness. This thing just drags on and on and on. And so this is only the latest development. Next item comes out of Dunn County.
Yeah, the Dunn Economic Development announced the distribution of over $114,000 in grant funding to 27 small businesses and startups across the area. It's just kind of a way to help them expand their inventory, get some technical assistance, make some technology upgrades. One of the major recipients, if you remember back in May, Town and Country Antiques in Menominee suffered a huge fire, lost pretty much all of their inventory. They received one of the bigger portions of this grant funding. So good way to kind of get everybody going during the holiday season, make the inventory upgrades, make sure everyone can buy the things they want to buy and that they're making money in small businesses.
All right. Good to hear. And you got one more for the season for us?
One more for the season. Yeah, the Wisconsin Credit Union had a couple fundraisers going on, a couple drives, initiatives. One was the Shop Small, Share Joy Kindness Counts event. They handed out 313 gift cards to members that supported 47 local small businesses around the western Wisconsin region. Definitely a good way for them to kind of expand that giving back beyond their own members and benefit the overall community as well. They also had their 15th anniversary of their Mitten Tree fundraiser. This year, they collected over $3,000 and over 2,700 kind of warmer items, hats, gloves, that kind of thing. And since it began 15 years ago, it's over $42,000 collected now and over 3,500 warm weather items for families in need.
I like that, and especially with the gift cards. Are you much of a gift card person when you do gifts, or do you still buy like things that you are tangible that you wrap up, things like that?
It depends on what it is. You know, if it's someone I don't really know all that well or don't really know what to get, gift card you can't go wrong with. Just go spend it on whatever you want to spend it on. I've given you a gift.
Yeah, there you go. No, we were out to dinner with another couple last night, and they were just raving about a particular restaurant. And then we exchanged cards, and it turns out we both put gift cards in each other's. And thankfully, they just laughed because they opened up, and the gift card from us was from that very restaurant that they were raving about. And we thought this conversation could be totally different if they were trashing this restaurant. And we're like, oh, here's your Christmas present. It's a gift card to this restaurant.
See, that's a great gift though, because like they like this place. This is a good gift card. They're going to use it. There's the gift cards where it's like it's just a Visa card. You can go spend it on whatever you want. It's $50 on it.
Yeah, I mean
that's a little lazy, but I try not to do that.
But there's times when it really is helpful. Like I've said, with a lot of young adults, you never go wrong with a gas card. You know,
never.
Anything that they don't have to,
I guess
look
unless you have an
couch
electric
cushions.
vehicle these days.
Well, yeah, there is that. But anyway, hey, have a good trip home for the holidays, and thanks for all these updates. Really appreciate it, James.
Absolutely, Pat. Thanks for always having me on. I hope you guys both have a great holiday.
Thank you so much. You can get James Kelly's Chippewa Valley updates from 93.5 The Tap here in the Chippewa Valley or on the Civic Media app. And you can read all about his headlines, weather, local sports, and more on the web at thetap.fm. Again, thetap.fm. Coming up in our next hour, we will be talking to Chad Holmes from our Civic Media station in Wausau and Joe Zepecki as well. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Well, I'm going to go listen to the rest of that song.
I loved that. That was great, but I was nervous.
I was very worried. The
very,
beat
very
drop
nervous. All right. Roger has sent in some more song ideas. Now I got to go get some of my own.
ABC's Mary Bruce.
Now, the president is right. Gas prices are down, but Americans are paying more for groceries. They are feeling that when they go to the grocery store. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the prices of groceries is up from a year ago, including on products impacted by Trump tariffs. Coffee up 41%, sirloin steak up 20%, frozen orange juice up 12%.
The address did not have a whole lot of specifics on fixing health care, and Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley says,
unfortunately, I think you've seen a failure of leadership on both sides.
Congress is set to leave Washington without a vote on dealing with the expiring ACA subsidies. That will mean higher premiums next year for about 20 million Americans. President will later today sign the new defense spending package. It includes a provision that puts pressure on the defense secretary to provide lawmakers more information on the drug boat strikes. This is ABC News.
Parallel parking in Madison? Impossible. Finding real conversation on the radio? Probable. With 92.7 WMDX.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Wisconsin stopped broadcasting a few days ago. Now, 2 Democrats have introduced a bill to create an alternative, a new government-sponsored network. WISI live streams the legislature, the Supreme Court, the executive branch. The goal is to make state government accessible to everyone. Without it, the only way to watch these things is to be at the Capitol in person. But they're facing a budget gap of nearly $900,000 for 2026. And after a year and a half of working to fundraise, the network paused all operations December 15th. State Senator Mark Spreitzer and State Representative Breanne Brown, both Democrats, are introducing a bill that would create a new public affairs network instead of Wisconsin Eye. That means live streaming would be part of state government, not a nonprofit that relies on donations and sponsors. Spreitzer talking with Civic Media News Director Shali Pittman.
It looks like we are going to be in a position of needing public taxpayer funding for the long term. And if that's the case, then we should consider whether it should just be a public entity that is accountable to elected officials and run for the public benefit.
It would cost about $2 million a year to add this coverage to state government. Spreitzer says if Wisconsin Eye dissolves, according to their contract, they have to turn over their 18 years worth of archives to the Wisconsin Historical Society. But in order to make this happen, Democrats need Republicans in charge of the legislature on board.
I certainly hope to get support from Republicans. I don't believe we have any Republicans signed on yet, but this is something that I know we've heard that Republican leaders are interested in doing something.
Spreitzer hopes they can get the bill on the floor in January. I'm Savannah Tomei-Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
Bucks basketball tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks hope to bounce back after losing by 45 points to the Brooklyn Nets. Tonight they'll host the Toronto Raptors at Fiserv Forum. Last night in college hoops, Marquette losing at home to the Georgetown Hoyas, 78-69. The Golden Eagles fall to 5-7. UW Green Bay with a 67-64 win over UC Santa Barbara. After the game, head coach Doug Gottlieb says he's going to quit his national radio show after 23 years to focus on his job as the coach of the Green Bay Phoenix. NFL, do the Packers.
What an idea that is.
I know,
If
crazy.
If only someone had told him that when he took the job.
Exactly.
As a team, but I think as a leader and for the other leaders, it's just keep pushing that message out there that we still got everything we want right in front of us, and it starts by handling business this Saturday.
That's Packers quarterback Jordan Love with sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
Our lakes are gorgeous. Just don't swim in them. 92.7 WMDX, keeping Madison honest, one broadcast at a time.
Cloudy today with rain showers this morning. A little snow possible by late this afternoon. It's going to be windy too, with a south wind becoming west, gusting to 30 to 40 today, and falling temperatures from near 40 this morning into the low 20s by late this afternoon. Temperatures drop tonight, still windy with a low of 6 above. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
Ahoo, this is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we share stories from Turtle Island highlighting the people and issues shaping our communities. From protecting water to treaty rights and preserving languages and traditions, we cover it all. Hear voices like Arena Martin of Emerge, Wisconsin, Dr. Stately, Robert Lilligren, and more. Because Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Native Roots Radio, weeknights at 8 on your local civic media radio station.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
30 seconds left in a break.
All right. You good to go?
I am set.
All right. Here we go.
Across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
On a Thursday morning, it's 8:06. Nice to have you back here up north. Live from Lake Wissota, a messy, rainy Lake Wissota, which I'm fearful is going to be in icy, slippery roads around Lake Wissota a little bit later on. So pay extra attention to the falling temperatures today and to your own local forecast before you consider any kind of long drives. Let's see, on the text line from Travis in Pierce County. I have been listening to you, Pat, since you started broadcasting on Civic Media 3 years and have enjoyed your show. I will miss listening to you and Parker in the morning. I look forward to what the future holds for both of you. I think Pat should run for U.S. Senate, and I want the first yard sign. Thanks for everything, Travis from Pierce County. Did you do this one too? Are you sending these in, or is that actually Travis in Pierce County?
Allegedly, that's actually Travis.
Okay.
I think it's possible that I've set my friends up to something. But you never know.
Just stop. I'm not running for anything. Been there, done that. Got nothing but happy memories from it.
What else are you going to do in retirement?
Wink. I'm going to manage Chad Holmes' campaign for governor as he joins us now from 98.9 WXCO in Wausau. How are things out there?
that campaign would flame out the day that I made the announcement.
Yeah,
they would see that my campaign video with me trying to walk and talk at the same time with some sort of music behind it, and I'd fall down.
Yep, you got
and then
to.
it'd be over, and then I'd be the lead monologue joke on Colbert or Myers or whatever.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, especially if you have to do the walk and talk video now, you know. But that, although actually to be honest, that's actually kind of what is expected of me, not walking and talking as a candidate, but doing the walking and talking news explainer videos. That's kind of the thing now. If you ever notice that you don't have anchors sitting at an anchor desk, you know, they're out there and they're walking and they're talking about what's in the news. And I've had to unlearn everything that I ever learned about TV and news. You know, things were horizontal. Now everything's vertical because of your phone. Everything you had to start and stop a million times to get the lines just right. Now you're expected to have some ums and ahs, so that you sound like a real person. The camera used to be on a tripod. Now the camera is supposed to wiggle so that you look all genuine. I mean, all the things I learned about being polished and professional now come off to, I guess, other people as fake. It's like, wait, no, I meant I was trying really hard. But apparently you're supposed to look like you're not even trying. So,
you know, and you know, as you were just saying that, it kind of got me thinking here. It's like, if that was the only area that the polish and the professionalism was expected to go away, but nowadays, I mean, you can go right to the president and you can
absolutely
go to,
what
go,
professional and polished.
We had a certain expectation, and even in the aftermath of last night's speech.
Yeah.
I saw Ken Martin from the DNC put out a statement on social media and using an expletive somewhere. And I mean, it's like, I want to go back where there's a certain sense of decorum expected. And I would say even with anchors, we don't, so we're supposed to, am I supposed to have, well, I'm pretty good at it, but are we supposed to have these airs that come flying at the people? I don't know. I just maybe call me old fashioned. I guess I'll have to become the old curmudgeon now that you're leaving.
There you go. You've become you're the new curmudgeon in waiting for civic media, and that'll be fine. I've been looking for a way to put old fashioned as part of the branding for what I do here. And in fact, I think I might have it here. Yes, hang on a second.
For people listening on the radio, Pat is doing something that you should not do in professional broadcasting.
Yeah, you're not supposed to leave the microphone.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, we actually put out T-shirts, and it just reminded me that I have this T-shirt. Let me see if I can get it right here. It's got a picture of an old-fashioned, and it says "New Stories, Old-Fashioned Values, Up North News."
There you go.
And this is the only one that exists like that, because it really wasn't much of a seller. It turns out. People don't want cocktails when you're hawking a news product, it seems. Anyway, all right. So
that was pre-Trump, though.
Yeah.
Now we need cocktails.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way.
By the way, real fast.
Yes.
If you were a professor, because I was listening. I listened on the radio. I was listening on our radio station because I got done with my high school sports show last night at 8. So then I'm driving home when he came on, and after my show, I was the lead-in for Donald Trump here on WXCO. So it was wonderful. So I'm driving home and I'm listening to this, and I'm trying to I'm trying to keep on the road here, and then I started thinking, if I was thinking about back when I was in college at UW Eau Claire, and I had a speech class, and I remember doing these speeches and being graded on these speeches. And there's a few basics that we're supposed to do when you're giving a speech. And all I could think of, this guy would be lucky to get a D+ if he was taking a speech class based on his delivery, just listening to it.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. And now, again, when he first ran, there were people that said this is new, that's different, it's refreshing. He's not a typical politician. I totally got it. I didn't like it, but I got it. But all these years later, that there are still people that think this is somehow real, fresh and real, and he's just an everyday guy. If you're still getting fooled by that, I mean, he's talking about inflation as if he's ever been to a grocery store in his life.
It's a case where I mean, part of that interview that his chief of staff gave with Vanity Fair this week, Susie
yeah.
Wiles, basically saying he doesn't know anything about anything. And I'm a little bit tired of people who seem to think that's somehow what we need in government. Call
Yeah.
me old-fashioned, but I want people that actually know what's going on and who actually have a will to learn what's going on, and not just throwing stuff from the rear end and throwing it out there and thinking that makes it real. It's
Intellectual curiosity
Yes.
is a good thing. And by the way, for as much as we sound, all set in our ways and everything, let me make clear the thing that you have to have an openness to acknowledging when you are wrong, or that you need to know more before you open your yap. And that's it. That's all it is. And there have been times where I've looked back at something and went, oh, no, I'm definitely thinking about that differently now based on the things that I have learned. But you got to want to learn, and your instinct when new information comes up isn't to just be in denial, is to go, oh, I did not know that. I have learned something. Let me, moderate my view of how I, what I previously said about this thing. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but you have to be open to that possibility. And unfortunately, too many people in politics won't even be open to the possibility they might have to amend the way that they look at something.
And something else that I always find myself, when I put out a piece of bad information, it can be the wrong point total in a sports broadcast. It can be the wrong piece of information as I try to report on an issue that is up for discussion in state government or local government. I feel bad about it.
And we should.
Yes,
we should.
And I hate the feeling of that. And I never get the sense of anybody that is a acolyte of MAGA ever feels bad if it's brought up to them, hey, that piece of information is totally false. Well, it's like there should be a sense of pride in the work, whether it's what we do or whether it's what the president of the United States does to put out correct information. And I mean, he was just throwing stuff at the wall that was just,
oh my gosh, the fact checking.
Yeah.
The fact checking just went on and on for that. The fact checking would take longer than the speech, which makes sense because it takes longer to explain a lie than it does to actually, tell the lie. So we'll obviously this is going to be followed throughout the course of the day here. What are your holiday plans?
Got some my siblings are coming in from points beyond because we kind of live in different areas, and one of my sisters has a place up in the Northwoods. Going to go up there actually after the holiday because it's easier sometimes.
Yes,
because everybody has their own plans. So basically, my holiday will be post Christmas, and my holiday will be very quiet. In fact, which I'm actually okay with because I'm running around all the time, and it's actually nice once in a while to be able to settle in and just not talk for a little bit.
Trust me, I'm looking forward to that, as are all the people around me.
I mean, your Thanksgiving thing sounded great, where you just, you and one other person were hanging out at some local watering hole.
Yep, because we were the only two losers who had no place to be on Thanksgiving Day.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and my plan involves a lot of watching the younger grandkids because their parents both have to work a lot over the holidays, and so we'll hang out with some little kids and watch Bluey and Disney and everything else that's involved, and not have to wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and not have to talk for 3 hours continuously, and that's all going to be a nice change of pace. But then we got to come up with something else to do, which hopefully involves maybe a few visits over to your fine little radio station, where I'm sure you will still be keeping amply busy broadcasting in the mornings to start off 2026.
I hope you know something.
I don't. I'm just saying. I hope, because you got a good gig over there, and I'd rather look forward to being a guest over there from time to time.
And the thing about it is that this morning, as this being our last little get together, it reminded me of back when Carson was retiring and Bob Newhart came on, and he goes, came on calmly and says, "Please don't leave. Please stay. Please don't go away.
For Bob
We need
Newhart to
you.
come unglued. Yeah. Now, Tony tells us on YouTube that you were busy talking to Fred Clark yesterday, and that was a very good interview with the candidate for Congress.
Yeah, it was. It was very nice to talk to one of the three Dems here in the 7th Congressional District. Very interesting guy. I think a very real man, and I was very impressed, and I look forward to talking to the other two candidates as well. But he is a guy that I think can relate very well. Again, it's not an easy district, as you well know, to be able
yes.
to cut into what is, I think, a rather significant tilt to the incumbent. But at the same time, I do think as we go into 2026, if you're not able to use what people like Tom Tiffany and other Republicans have done in the last couple of years, I mean, I would think that maybe at this point there would be a few more of those folks who are just, instinctively going to go, oh, there's the Yar, I'm going to vote for him. I think there's people that are willing to listen here in the next 11 months or so.
I think so, because again, we've met enough people who are traditionally Republican but now feel politically homeless. And they're not going to tell you that they're a Democrat by any stretch, but they're happy to proclaim that they're a bit more independent than they used to be, and that they might have to, for at least one cycle, kick the current Republicans to the curb in the hopes that some other folks come in who actually have all those real, here's that word again, old-fashioned values that we talked about. Chad Holmes, you can hear him on WXCO in Wausau and through the Civic Media app. My friend, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for making the show what it is.
My pleasure, Pat. Best of luck in everything you do.
Thank you so much. We'll be talking again soon, I hope, in the not-too-distant future. Joe Zepecki is along the way in 15 minutes from the heart of America's Up North, live from Lake Wissota. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You hit the key change. Wow.
Blind squirrel.
Every now and then I'll find a note.
Pat, don't forget 30 seconds.
We will talk about more Christmas tunes in just a sec. First, a reminder, Packers play the Bears this Saturday night. Coverage begins at 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon on Civic Media stations in Richland Center, Park Falls, Racine, Watoma, and Ironwood, Michigan. On Friday, the Badger men's basketball team is playing Villanova in a tournament in Milwaukee. Coverage begins Friday at 6:30 on several Civic Media stations. Head to civicmedia.us to learn more. And again, you've got the Badger women's volleyball team in a national semifinal coming up later today as they made it to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. From Roger in Stevens Point, Parker, we get a note on more Christmas songs that basically should now just be owned by the singer and not sung by anybody else. Elvis Presley's Blue Christmas is one that Roger would nominate. There's there's Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree right there by Brenda Lee. There's Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. Others put in notes like Darlene Love singing Please Come Home for Christmas. And then there's the Eagles, which have a song called Please Come Home for Christmas. Two very different songs, but they're both very, very good. And they're about coming home for Christmas. And I guess where we're getting into the gray area here now, you know, in sports, they talk about the Hall of Fame and then the Hall of the Very Good. And that's where I think some of these get into. For example, let's take Blue Christmas by Elvis. Now that is the quintessential version of Blue Christmas. But I know that I've heard a version or two of Blue Christmas, like say by a female singer, name escapes me, but again was very, very soulful, very sincere, and it was a very good version of the tune. So there are songs where you could hear a good version of the tune. It's just that, you know, we started with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You because the versions that I've heard there, I mean, they can't even hold a candle. They just sound so, they're bringing nothing to it whatsoever. But others you can. Here's another good example. John Mellencamp does a great version of I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. It's got a little, Zydeco, beat going to it. But plenty of other people can also do I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. And then there's Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. Springsteen. Springsteen has arguably the best version of Santa Claus Is Coming to Town, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't want to hear other versions of it. So you got that. There's that line of I don't want to hear anybody else doing some of these others. Oh, here comes a little John Mellencamp. There we go. So, and that's the difference between, say, Darlene Love with her Christmas, Baby Please Come Home, and the Eagles, Please Come Home for Christmas. I would love to hear nothing but the Eagles version of that particular song going forward.
I don't think
so.
I've
Welcome to this segment of Pat is splitting hairs when it comes to Christmas music.
Well, sometimes you need to.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm happy to have your own thoughts on these sounds of the season, because that's it. Then we're not talking about it anymore. And come January, people go, well, why are you stopping the radio show right before Christmas? You try coming up with topics in early January. it's a cold and snowy one out there, let me tell you. Another headline to share here with you, this one from Wisconsin Watch, the investigative journalism site. The headline says, as energy-hungry data centers loom, Wisconsin ratepayers still owe $1 billion on closed power plants. And the article begins talking about the Pleasant Prairie Power Plant. You say that 3 times fast. The Pleasant Prairie Power Plant in Kenosha County. In 1980 is when it opened. It became Wisconsin's largest generating plant, burning enough coal from Wyoming, some 13,000 tons a day, to provide electricity for up to 1 million homes. It had a good run. But eventually, We Energies shut it down in 2018 after 38 years of generating power. But We Energy customers are still paying for it. According to the report here, a portion of their monthly bills will continue to pay for Pleasant Prairie until 2039, 21 years after the plant stopped producing electricity. In fact, the Wisconsin Watch report says, residential and business utility customers throughout Wisconsin owe nearly $1 billion on so-called stranded assets power plants that have been or will soon shut down. Customers must not only pay for the debt taken on to build and upgrade the plants, but also an essentially guaranteed rate of return for the utility company owners long after the plants stop generating revenue themselves. Now, this looms even as there are at least 7 major high-tech data centers that are being proposed, approved, or under construction. And by one estimate, the report says just 2 of the data centers would use more electricity than all Wisconsin homes combined. Now, this takes us back to something that Chad and I were just talking about, and that is the ability to say that, I was wrong about something, or the ability to say, I don't have all the answers, but I want to know more. You've heard me use the smoking ban a few different times. I am, a very strident anti-smoker. But, one of the first debates that came up in the legislature when I was elected was the smoking ban. But I also knew it was a small business issue. And so when I supported a longer phase-in of the smoking ban, there were people that were very upset with me. But the more I learned about it, the more I realized I didn't want to just lop that smoking ban in place on like 30 days' notice. Similarly, for data centers, I find myself in that view. I know what energy hogs these are. I know what this would do to the ratepayers. And now this new Wisconsin Watch report tells us that even if the data centers are someday not used anymore, ratepayers might still be on the hook for them. And yet, having said all that, we're not going to be using less data. And so I'm less inclined to just give a blanket no, but I do want to say I have to learn more. And I hope that that's a healthy attitude so that we can find ways to generate the data we need, but without draining our natural resources or our pocketbooks along the way. Joe Zepecki is coming up next. You're Up North.
Once again.
Oh, here we go. Last Dance with Joe.
How are you, sir?
Melancholy, but it is what it is.
That was quite the speech last night. I imagine we'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
Or address.
Or something. Or crazy uncle rant.
Do we have the, have you used the sound cue from Billy Madison yet?
No. Do you know what we're talking about, Parker?
What you just said
was
one of the most insane, rambling, incoherent things
I don't suppose you can find that in
heard.
4 minutes notice there, Parker. I can look.
I award you no points, and may
Yes.
God have mercy on your soul.
That's the one. Yeah, if you think you can find that, let us know. That is great. That's exactly what should have come out of it. Oh.
Here I thought that was going to be a stale take.
No. Nope. That's nice.
Got it.
Have you've been to Europe, right, Pat? We talked about this.
I've been to a couple of cities. Yes.
So tell me if what I did this morning is going to help me or not. Just give me some positive reinforcement.
All
I
right.
woke up at 5:30, which is very early for me.
Yeah, it is.
And I've already been to the gym for 2 hours.
Ooh.
And I got my workout in.
Good for you.
And the hope is that will help me sleep earlier and better on the plane, because when we get on a plane at 5:30 and 8.5 hours when we land, it's basically morning in Paris.
Yep.
And I've been told the objective is to just you just got to stay awake until it's time to go to bed.
Yep. You power through. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you have to do anything, wild or crazy, but just don't go to sleep yet, either go for a walk or whatever. But yeah, that is the best way to go about it. And even then, there's still no guarantee that you won't have a sleep hangover for a day or two, but then it goes away and then it's all going to be great. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to hear how it all goes. What do we got? 2.5 minutes here left in this break. I see here.
There we go. Now you're back.
Oh, had I gone away?
I was cleaning my AirPods and
okay.
lost you for a sec. They switched to that.
Gotcha. Oh, nope. I was just saying I'm very excited for your trip and can't wait to hear all about it in whatever venue you are going to share about it later on. So I'm just looking at an email just came from Jody Habish-Sinekin and Melissa Ratcliffe. They're going to hold a presser right after the first meeting of this new special committee on oversight of the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Sure. Which is fine, because it was one of the two topics I was going to bring up with you, was this fake investigation into Josh Call and the decision or the anonymous objection in joint finance that bottles up $2 million that would have gone to the Department of Licensing or whatever it is to improve customer service. Because God forbid we improve customer service, because what happens to our self-fulfilling prophecy about government being broken then? You know? And the Trump speech. So. All right, one more minute.
"30 seconds left in a break."
I have the Billy Madison clip, by the way.
All right, sounds good. All right, a reminder that even though tomorrow is the last day of the show from a live show standpoint, for the next 2 weeks, there will be a series of best of shows, but we've sprinkled in some new content in there as well to keep you interested, including, Jeff Renicky from Friends of the Apostle Islands is going to be talking about an event that's coming up there. Laura Bird is going to have some recommendations for books that you could read for the start of the new year. And we might even bring this guy in, Joe Zepecki, along with his lovely bride, Melissa Baldoff, as we do at the end of every year to kind of talk about the year in review. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got a week in review to talk about first with Joe, and frankly, a speech in review as far as whatever that thing was that Donald Trump was delivering from the White House last night. Joe, hello. Did you subject yourself to that?
Every second of it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm not sure I would call it a speech. More of a lecture for sure.
Okay.
But when it was over, the first thought that popped into my head, and the producer will help me out here, was the response after Billy Madison gave his answer at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear that.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Wouldn't it be great if a network could just play that right at the end of the speech? Because
I can't believe none of them did.
Yeah.
I mean, here's just a smattering of the incoherence.
Okay.
If I pay $5 for a product and someone reduces the price of it by 100%, it is no longer a product that I have to pay for. It is now free.
Correct.
Because 100% is $5 in that case.
Yes.
So the insanity of we're going to bring prices down by 500 or 600%.
Percent.
Like, it literally breaks the brain to understand that a president of the United States would say such a thing. It had no news whatsoever, right? I actually expected we would get the casus belli, cause for war in Venezuela, because clearly this is escalating. Nope, nothing to see here. There was nothing new. It was, 20 minutes crammed into 12, which meant it was too fast. It was way too shouty. The president was holding on to that lectern like it was a life raft that was going to prevent him from toppling over. All of which is to say, Donald Trump has demonstrated in the last 10 years some political gifts. There are versions of him as a public official that are genuinely charming and that work and that can strike fear into the heart of Democrats running for office. Last night's version was not that version. He is adrift. If I had to actually give a title to that speech, it was the "Why don't you like me? The beatings will continue until morale improves" speech.
It was, and again, the fact checking just goes on and on. A lot of it stuff that we're already familiar with. For example, saying that you're bringing prices down 500% is there. There was also the warrior dividend, aka bribe, to the military, using tariff funds that either the Supreme Court might order him to refund to consumers, or at the very least, it isn't money that came in from foreign countries.
Also, tell me if I'm being crazy, Pat, but I'm pretty sure the Constitution spells out in Article 1 that the Congress decides how the money gets spent.
Right.
So I believe this is extra constitutional. Is it possible this was one provision tucked into the one thing that Congress has done all year, the big bill? Maybe, but it sounds to me like he just declared, we decided to send some checks out and now they're in the mail, which is not legal and not regular order.
And by the way, also not believable. I will believe it when I actually see a check coming. Donald Trump would not be the first person to say the check's in the mail, and it actually wasn't.
It wouldn't be the first time he ever said it either. He's stiffed multiple contractors over the years.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I noticed as well in the White House that there's a mold that is growing in there. There are plenty of houses that, when neglected, mold will spread rapidly. Now, his happens to look like fake gold that you get at a Michael's department store or something like that. But the gaudy gold tchotchkes are just, it's like a virus or something spreading across the walls of the people's house. And then there's that new quote unquote, walk of fame with the presidents, and the plaques underneath that are just full of Trump language disparaging, these presidents. And I do sometimes wonder, Joe, that between having these portraits and putting the names on them and then putting big gold letters on things like the Oval Office and the West Wing, it does make me wonder if they're worried that he's going to forget where he is.
It kind of smacks of palliative care.
Yes.
Right? Grandpa's on his way out, so we're just going to make him really comfortable. And the things that he rants and raves and asks for that are doable, we'll do it. And it would be sad if the impacts on people were not so profound and profoundly dangerous for the safety of individuals and families and communities and our country. We are getting smoked in the great power competition of this generation, particularly vis-a-vis China. And I won't totally nerd out here, but I don't think nearly enough attention has been paid to the decision by the Trump administration to allow NVIDIA to sell new AI chips to China. Right now, the one thing we have going for us in the AI race is we have about 50 times more compute power than China does. And independent analysts have found that giving China access to these chips can reduce that 50x advantage we have to a 1.2 advantage. What are we doing? It's just, and Trump will say, oh, it's a win because NVIDIA is going to give the U.S. 25% of the profits from the sale. So now that's just state-run enterprise. I thought conservatives were against that. It doesn't make any sense, and it weakens America vis-a-vis our prime geopolitical rival. That's insane.
It is, and there is not any. There's so little in Congress among Republicans pushing back. Though I will say that when it comes to at least one matter, there is some pushback. You and I are old enough to remember when a discharge petition was an extremely rare tool where a majority of members could sign something and force a full vote on the matter, even if leadership doesn't want it. But now, for the fourth time, enough Republicans have signed a discharge petition that Speaker Mike Johnson has to hold a vote. And in this case, Joe, it's now an up or down vote on resurrecting the tax credits that helped keep health insurance affordable for 20 million Americans. And that you only needed 4 Republicans to sign it, and they did. It's there now. It's going to happen, and that's got to make the Derek Van Ordens, Brian Stiles, and others in the caucus just absolutely squirm, even if nothing comes of it, even if it dies in the Senate. The fact that vote, that Mike Johnson couldn't protect Derek Van Orden and Brian Stiles from holding this vote, or Tony Weed or the others, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try to get the quote 100% accurate. Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday said something to the effect of, I have not lost control of the House. And sir, with all due respect, methinks you doth protest too much. The fact that the question gets even posed underscores the degree to which Mike Johnson has lost all control over the House of Representatives. Governance by discharge petition is a horrible way to do this. And so a little teaser for anyone who watches the Upfront weekly news magazine. I will be on either this Sunday or next Sunday. It's not totally clear, but a little preview. My loser of 2025, one Mike Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think I'm not a betting man, but that's one that you can.
You might say he's the biggest loser.
You might say that indeed. Joe Zepecki is with us right now at 8:45 on this Thursday morning. Turning to state matters for just a moment here, we've got a new committee in the state Senate that is, I think, today beginning its operations. It's an oversight committee for the State Department of Justice because of some work with an outside group that might be interested in things like environmental justice and protecting the state of our natural resources, and the timing of investigating, quote unquote, the Josh Kaul while he's running for re-election. Again, Joe, just feeds into the cynicism that Republicans think is really in their DNA, is to feed cynicism about government. But at some point, I've got to feel it becomes their kryptonite as well.
I think it has. When the chief of staff to the White House is describing just in an offhand manner to Vanity Fair that the vice president of the United States has been a conspiracy theorist for 10 years, that rot has gone well down into the firmament of the Republican Party and Republican elected officials. I wish it wasn't so, but it is. Now, listen, on the other hand, I have no problem with one branch of government taking steps to hold other co-equal branches of government accountable. But it's the manner and method and timing in which they choose to do it that reeks of, witch hunt, conspiracy mongering, and it's not healthy.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind that there are already committees in the legislature that exist. You could schedule that hearing for today to say, we want to know more about it. It's exactly what they had their committee on elections do when they were looking into outside groups that were helping local governments be able to afford to put on their elections. But to create a special investigative committee for this, it's just, again, most people don't want to hear about the inner workings of the legislature. We share this because you've got to understand the cynicism they have toward their own voters of creating committees like this rather than just asking a few questions like, hey, is this a proper use of money or not?
And let me just add, because I think it's also been woefully undercovered. This week, Jack Smith, the special counsel who led the indictment of Trump on 2 different counts, one relating to the unclassified or the classified materials, the second relating to the conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. Congress dragged Jack Smith in. Okay, you get to do that. But the Republicans didn't want that testimony to be public. So it was private testimony.
Yes.
If you want to do accountability and investigations, do them in the light of day, unless there are, real military and geopolitical, secrets that we cannot allow our adversaries to know about. This does not fit that bill. And so, I'd like some consistency for Republicans in the new year. Maybe you could get me that for Christmas, Pat.
I will certainly see what I can do about it, but no guarantees. Joe Zepecki is with us. We'll continue the conversation coming up in just a bit. And then after 9 o'clock, Greg Bach will be along, continuing Matt and Air on Air through the rest of the calendar year here. And it includes, let me look here, me. All right, well, more me coming up at 9:30 with Greg Bach after the news. But as I said, we'll continue things with Joe Zepecki, some final news and notes from up here on Lake Wissota right after this. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. All right. I didn't send. Let me get you back up here. I did not send you the article. I think you know the article that I'm talking about, but I just texted it to you now. And a little sports and whatever else we want to do. And I will be back in just a bit.
Okay.
Pat, don't forget 30 seconds.
Got it. Remember, you can stay up to date on what we're doing at Up North News by signing up for our newsletter, upnorthnewswi.com. Click subscribe right up there at the banner at the top of the homepage, and be all up to date on the things that Ellie Bordeaux is putting together for us on a weekday basis. And then my Sunday morning newsletter, which will continue well after this radio show. We'll continue covering state politics, headlines of the week through that Sunday morning newsletter. Sign up at northnewswi.com. Joe Zepecki back with us now at 8:53. And Joe, I talked about this at length yesterday, but I want to bring up again the whole matter of a single legislator on the Joint Finance Committee has put up an anonymous objection, and as a result, the Department of Safety and Professional Services is blocked from using about $2 million in funding it has already raised through professional licensing fees to help improve customer service for people who are looking for questions about professional licenses or the licenses itself. It is that whole self-fulfilling prophecy, Joe, about the people who hate government the most should be trusted the least to run it competently.
Yeah, and I just want to give listeners an example of what we're talking about here, because who needs a license? Lots of professions need licenses. Here's just a few of them. Nurses, physicians, acupuncturists, athletic trainers, dietitians, massage therapists, occupational therapists, podiatrists, accountants, real estate brokers, cosmetologists, electricians, plumbers. This is a big part of the role that government plays, is ensuring that people who work professionally and interact with the public are able to do the job. They've got the requisite training and skills necessary to do that. It's a consumer protection. And so we're not talking about some niche, oh, there's only like 2 weird jobs that need this. This impacts almost everybody. And the part of it that just makes me irate is the anonymous nature of it. This is a democracy. We debate things in public. If you want to be a stick in the mud or a gear in the sand, put your name on it. Whoever this coward of a surely Republican JFC member is, put your dang name on it so that the public can then communicate to you the importance of getting this right and unlocking this money to make sure that government is responsive to the people. I just hate this, whether it's the United States Senate or the Wisconsin JFC. If you want to put a hold on something, put your name on it, cowards.
Well, I'm not going to be holding my breath for it because, again, in the meantime, while there continue to be wait times of about 30 minutes or more at times when this agency gets calls from customers, they can't use the money that's already been raised to improve things until the full Joint Finance Committee meets and hears this and probably attaches more strings, if anything else. If there's one thing this legislature is noted for, it's attaching strings to things that make government services even less efficient and more expensive.
They never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
No, they never do. Joe Zepecki is with us here. And we've been going over matters happening at the state government level. And, of course, with what happened with the economic speech yesterday. So we end up, looking ahead now, past the holiday season. You and I are going to stay in touch through Up North News. I'm sure you'll be making appearances here on Civic Media as well. But we're going to come into a new year with a legislature that's going to meet for, 3-4 weeks, maybe, and then go on a paid vacation for the rest of time after that. Is there anything else that you think that they can or should, anything that you think they can get done before they call it a session?
Well, I hope they get the Jody Habush-Sinekin data center bill done. This is an issue now. We cannot wait until 2027 to address this issue when these things are being proposed all over the place. We got to get this right. And I heard you talking about it before I came on. We don't have to be a reflexive no to things. And in fact, we shouldn't. But we should make sure that the investments the state is making, the things that are being built, are done in the right way. And the process that the Habush-Sinekin legislation spells out, I think makes a ton of sense to have an actual process in place to ensure there are safeguards and protections for communities, for our natural resources. So let's get this done. That's my number one legislative wish list item for 2026.
And then finally, again, a topic we've gone over a couple of times here, but the whole notion that Governor Tony Evers is somehow responsible for 400 years of tax increases when a governor does not have taxing authority. But it does, Joe. It sounds, it's the kind of thing you can fit on a bumper sticker. Yeah. And so in the governor's campaign next year, even though Tony Evers isn't on the ballot, that 400-year, veto will be. The question is whether Democrats will know enough to turn it around and put the blame properly on a lazy legislature that isn't holding up its end of the deal to educate our kids.
It's not just lazy. It's the longest standing legislative control in memory. For going on 16 years, Democrats have not been able to govern. Republicans have controlled both chambers of the state legislature. So if you are frustrated with anything in the state of Wisconsin, I don't know how you can point the finger at anyone other than Republicans who control the legislature. And the thing you can do about it is give Democrats a chance to do things differently and do things better and actually prioritize K-12 public education in a way Republicans have not. And that's the solve here. Full stop.
When I was running in 2006 for my one and only term, it was a very easy campaign slogan, and it had nothing to do with the guy that I was running against. But because I was seeing things like this, the slogan was simply, "We deserve a better legislature." And frankly, that might be time to make a comeback, because it's what Wisconsin deserves better than this.
Yep. And I think we'll get it. It's been a rough year, but hope springs eternal.
As always. Joe, we'll do a little wrap up with you and Melissa in the next couple of weeks here, but thanks for all the weekly visits. I appreciate it so much, and hope you have a great holiday season as well.
Same to you, Pat. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for being with us today. We got one more go round of this tomorrow morning, and then we're going to call it good. You'll be able to follow me over at Up North News, the Wisconsin home for Courier Newsroom, a pro-democracy news outlet. Have yourselves a great Thursday. We'll see you one more time bright and early, 6 a.m. here up north.